Right.
All right. So let's start with the Green Mountain Solar.
Green Lantern Solar. So Weston and I work at Green Lantern Solar. I'm on the engineering side, engineering and operations. Weston's on the development side. As many of you might know, we're working on a solar project down on Creamery Street for years now. I try to get it developed. And in 2021, we finally got a certificate of public good. And so we started building this summer. And tomorrow, we're actually going to reach mechanical completion at the site. So it's not connected to the grid yet, but mechanical completion means that it's capable of producing power as designed. It's a 500 kW site for half a megawatt AC. About 2,000 modules and covers about 3.5 acres. I don't know. Has anybody here had a chance to take a look at it or driven down?
Driven by.
Yeah.
Yes.
So there are a series of I-beams driven into the ground for foundations. The racking goes across that. The modules are affixed to that. And then all the wiring comes into a main equipment rack. We've been working with VEC to connect the project to the grid. And that final connection hasn't been made, but they did put the main pad mount transformer out there yesterday. So we're really closing in on it, and we expect to start generating electricity there and credits by the end of the year. So that's sort of where the project is. If after this meeting next week sometime, if anybody here is interested in doing a tour of the site, we can organize that and just show you how commercial solar works and the topography in more detail out there. So just let me know, and we'd be happy to accommodate you. So Weston has all the details about how net metering works and the benefits to the town. If you guys sign up, I'll hand it over.
Thanks, Alan. So net metering, essentially, the electricity that's produced by the solar array is going to get put back into the grid. And when it gets put back into the grid, it has to go somewhere. So we have to go out and find off-takers for the electricity produced. Essentially, that electricity gets produced, it goes back into the grid and goes directly to, say, one of the town accounts. That electricity would show up on your electric bill as a credit, a net metering credit, and essentially would reduce the overall cost of the electric bill. How it works in Vermont, we would then, as the project owners, we would then send out an additional bill for the credits, but at a discounted rate. And the rate that we are offering the town of Brighton is 10% off of the net metering credit value. We have gone through and looked at the last 2 years of usage and really averaged out across really 12 key accounts at the town. Total credit value of about $59,000 across 12 accounts, offering a 10% discount on that. You can expect to see, the town could expect to see roughly $5,000 to $5,900 worth of annual credits a year. The typical term for these projects is 20 years. And I understand that's a scary number, but we have to be able to finance these projects, and the lifespan of these projects for financing is 20 years. So we have to be able to match the offtake to the financing for the project. The standard offtake agreement also includes an additional 3 additional 5-year automatic extensions, which the town can opt out of. All that language is written in the net metering agreement that we sent to NOAA. And I'm happy to answer any questions you guys may have about what it is we do. I will say that this project is probably the most lucrative one that you'll see as far as credit values are concerned, because we received the CPG for this project in 2021. The rates are a lot higher than what they are now. If we were to get a CPG for the project today, the net metering credit values would be worth 7 cents less a kilowatt hour.
What is CPG?
A certificate of public good.
Okay.
So that's the process that the state approves that this project is good to produce electricity and send out to the community, and it is a certified public good.
And what was the net savings for the 12 accounts?
Across 12 accounts, we expect to see in the ballpark of $5,316 for year one. And now that rate is tied to the blended residential rate, which is a tariff put out by VEC. Typically, we expect that to go up about 2% every year. As you know, the cost of electricity and inflation continues to rise, so does the value of these credits. The value of the credits are tied to that blended residential rate.
So the savings go up as
Yes.
the rates increase. They're linked.
Is
Yes.
selling any of this power to Vermont Electric?
So it goes through Vermont
Go through-
Electric.
It will
yes.
go through. Okay,
Yes.
I mean, I've got the same system, only
Mhm.
I'm on a house
Yeah,
scale,
yeah.
so you do. Okay.
And that metering program actually works the same for residential as it
Yes.
does for
Yeah.
commercial.
Is
So
it
we're not
the-
gonna sell any power to VEC. We're gonna apply our credits to your accounts, and then we're gonna offer you a discount on those.
Gotcha.
So, my question is, when you did all of this analysis, did you consider the weather patterns in the Northeast Kingdom and how much sun we actually get and whether or not we're gonna get a full $5,000 to $6,000?
Yep.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. So we run a
PV
PV Syst, which tells us it tracks all the weather patterns and historical weather data
Yep.
And sunlight in this region for that specific location. It's a
Okay.
very in-depth analysis.
So the numbers you provided were inclusive of the weather.
Yes.
Yeah, and there are numbers in there for snow soiling.
Yeah.
The actual latitude of the site is, it's pretty involved.
Yeah,
And we have to do that for our financing.
Yep.
So they tend to be quite realistic, and over the years that solar's been in Vermont, that number starts getting really refined. You
Yeah.
know, people shoot over or shoot under,
Sure.
but the credits accrue independently of your usage of them. In other words, if we apply credits to your account
Yep.
and you're in the black for that month, they'll just roll over, I believe, for 12 months.
Yeah, so the net metering credits, once they're generated, have to be used within 12 months
Yep.
of when they're generated. So obviously we get a lot more sun in the summertime.
Yeah.
You'll see essentially a negative bill
Yeah.
in the summer.
Yeah.
And then those credits will continue to be applied until they run out winter time. So across the year, you'll see a large amount of savings.
Okay. So there's no guarantees, but the average you're looking at is about 5 to 6. Is that correct? Because there's no guarantees and the sun is gonna be there,
True,
right?
but on an annual basis, we don't have surprises like, oh, this year we only
Yeah,
got
yeah.
150 megawatt
Right,
hours.
right.
You know, we anticipate 950 megawatt hours a year roughly.
Yep.
And I think the meters on those 12 accounts are a little under 300 hours.
Yes, each of those accounts, the smallest one being around 7,000 kilowatt hours a year.
So these credits apply straight to the VEC
Yep.
bill?
So
So we would not see a change in who our vendor is.
no,
We're not seeing a change
VEC
in-
is your vendor.
Yeah.
They are the ones providing
And-
you with electricity. We're essentially providing a discount for the electricity you're purchasing through VEC.
So all we would see basically is a line of credit that increases and decreases as we need to use it and kind of levels out the bill
Across the
a
year,
little bit
yeah.
across the year. Extra costs for us to sign up for this beyond purchasing the discounts from them.
None. No cost to you whatsoever. It is just straight savings.
So it's either save or no save for 20 years at approximately 10%, give or take.
And really the market in Vermont for net metering has significantly decreased. Credit value now would be 11 cents versus 18 cents. Or really 20 cents is what we're getting on this because it's a legacy project. The value of the credits on a new project today, you just won't see. And the discount rate that, because of that lower credit value, the discount rate that we're able to offer would typically, on a new project, would typically be in the 5 to 7% range. Really 5 would be the only way these projects could even potentially be financeable.
That's the
And
basic.
that's not our choice. You know, the
Right.
Public Utility Commission establishes the tariff rate, and then because this is an older project, the tariff rate's higher, so we're able to offer a more significant savings.
Is there a yearly increase
For
the cost?
the cost, no, so the credit value is the credit value, so as essentially as electricity, the price of electricity increases, it is tied to the blended residential rate. So if the utility raises that blended residential rate, the credit value will increase, but also your
total
usual,
payment.
your electric usage is likely increasing as well.
At the end of the 20 years, if we don't opt in, or continue the 5-year extensions, do you abandon the equipment there, or do you remove the equipment and restore the property to its original?
The equipment is essentially we want to restore it back to its original condition. These projects are able to last 35, 40 years. So we want to keep them online for as long as possible.
Right.
And at the end of that time, if it's possible, if the program provides in the state of Vermont that we can renegotiate a lease and develop a new, repower essentially the site, that may be potential, if it's financially feasible. If not, then we would likely decommission the site, pull up everything.
But this project is complete. It is all done. It is whatever you guys do, you do. You're not asking us. You're just asking us if we want to
Sign up.
take ownership and
If you want to
of
sign up,
credits.
yes.
We want to sign up for credits or not. Everything else is already set in stone. We can't impact any part of that, correct?
Correct.
I knew that. Basil Hill is different.
Yeah.
So a couple of things there, you know, if the town didn't want to re-up at the end of 20 years, we would likely look for a different off-taker because the equipment, the modules are going to be at around 80% capacity, so they won't be making as much as they do today. But all the equipment's out there and operating, so the owner is going to want to find another off-taker and keep that going if the town were to opt out for some reason. I mean, you know, full transparency, I think the only reason the town would want to opt out is if at the end of that term, there was another solar array that offered a higher discount rate. But given when this project went in and the tariff rate that we have to offer, it's unlikely you'd get a better deal. And so if you chose to, you could extend this. And then we do decommission the projects at the end of their useful life.
In that contract, I don't think I saw anything that prohibits you from getting credits from another solar provider. Did I misread anything?
Yeah, so the way the program works in the state of Vermont, and this is all through legislation, is that one account can only receive credits from one single source. So you can't have multiple arrays providing credits to, say, the elementary school. It's one account per solar array, essentially.
About maintenance of the Creamery Road, as far as dust abatement during the summer, having to go up there, so we have to apply chloride and snow removal, you know, to maintain that road. If there's any maintenance that you have to do, so is there any provisions for reimbursing the town for the maintenance of the road?
We're currently doing that during construction.
Mhm.
There was a dust issue up there. So you guys are graciously offered to do that for us, and we're reimbursing you during the construction period. Post-construction, these sites are all remotely monitored. And so the traffic that we have up there is absolutely minimal. We maintain the section of road that, you know, leads to our site past the town road, because we have to access the site if we have to do repairs and
Right.
maintenance and that type of thing. But typically you'll see probably a half a dozen or less visits per year. There will be one or two for vegetative management, bringing a mower up and doing brush hogging. And then it's service trucks coming in to do regular annual preventive maintenance checks, or if there's an inverter failure or something like that, a service truck comes in. It's typically just a pickup truck. And so we don't proactively schedule snow plowing, like we don't maintain 100% access to a site year round. it's not cost effective. No solar
Right.
sites in Vermont do that unless they're the much larger ones. So we plow as needed, and dust abatement would be the same thing. Reasonably, I think that if we got into a situation where we had to go in and do a major repair, then we would coordinate with you and say, hey, we're going to have a number of trucks in there. Can we handle this the way we did last time? Have you do the chloride as needed? But we wouldn't schedule that proactively because we don't have that much traffic there.
Thank you.
Any more questions?
When you first open up or start online or whatever, and you start producing 100% capacity, how many years before it starts declining?
Immediately. The modules begin degrading on a little bit of a steep curve for the first year, and then they level out. And it gets relatively linear after the first year. At the end of 20 years, those modules will make about 80% of the power that they did when they were new. Having said that, in terms of overall production, there are many more modules out there than the inverters need to make full power. And the reason we do that is so if it's slightly sunny out or cloudy out, or you have like partial shading, the site still makes full power. So the program caps our output at 500 kWac, at half a megawatt. But we have about, I don't know, 20% more modules out there. So we'll still be making full power even when it's cloudy. And as the modules degrade, some of that extra capacity helps there also. Solar output on sites used to be like this bell curve. Right at noon, you'd see full output, and then it would drop right back off. All the solar sites that are built today, they get to full production at about 9:30 in the morning, if there's any kind of decent irradiance, and they hold that all the way to about 2:30 in the afternoon. And that's the technology doing that. We have inverters now that allow extra power on the backside, and they limit what's going out on the other side. The price of modules has come down. It's become the more efficient way of producing power is to buy extra modules to try and create that maximum output for a longer period during the day.
And translating to the customer or potentially the town, essentially we're able to generate more credits throughout the year than we would if we just had enough panels to put out just the 500 kW.
What was the deadline on this?
No deadline as far as the offtake agreement goes, but we, like Alan said, we're trying to get this array online in the next month or so. So the sooner the better. And we are, the town of Brighton would not be able to take up all of the credits that are going to be produced by this array. So we are going out and seeking additional off-takers for this project. And really it's a first come, first served basis. Whoever signs up first, if they're able to soak up all of the credits that we expect to generate by the array, we're going to take them. But if the town of Brighton were to sign up before that, then the town of Brighton would roughly get about 25 to 30% of the array's production. The rest of the 70% would go to that large account, whoever signed up first.
How far are you reaching out with this project?
So net metering credits can be allocated to anyone within the utilities service territory. So anyone in VEC can essentially use the credits generated by this array. However, we're a commercial solar developer. We are looking for more larger accounts. The administrative burden of putting on, 200 residential accounts, it just doesn't make sense for what we're doing. When we can go and find, put a grocery store on, or the town, schools. We've worked with over 60 towns, our clients, and over 50 schools across the state. So we've done this since 2011, and we have over 127 arrays just in Vermont alone. So this is something that we've really cut our teeth on, stubbed our toes on, everything we can find. And, you know, we want to maximize the value to the town first. We want to stay as local as we can and try and branch out from there.
It's really the spirit of the net metering program. I mean, that's why we kind of feel compelled always to reach out to the towns when we can, because they're like the backbone of our net metering. You're great partners because you obviously have longevity. They're not a business that's going to go under, but it's also in the spirit of net metering. It's the benefit going to entities within Vermont. And the net metering program stipulates it has to be within Vermont, but towns kind of come first when we can make that happen.
Any other questions? No. All right. So do we need to make a motion for this today, or are we just tabling that for now?
Just informational.
I would prefer just information only right now.
Yep.
I would read through the contract and come back next week, and not next week,
Next meeting.
2 weeks,
Next meeting.
and have a decision then.
I think we can make a motion next time.
Thank you guys.
Okay.
And if you guys have any questions in the meantime, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. I'll leave my business card with Noah, and you guys can call, email, carrier pigeon, whatever you need, and I'll get you the information.
Perfect.
And I will be going back
All
out
right.
to the site sometime next week, so if anybody wants to take a look, please just coordinate through Noah, and we can make that happen. If you want to take a look at the array and the equipment, take a walk around the site.
Yeah.
So,
Thank
guys.
you.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
Thank you.
for having us.
Do you mind if we have Newport ambulance for that?
Yeah, I was just gonna say that.
We can pass these out. These are approved budgets for 2020. There.
Gene will hold it up for camera for you.
I can give
Thanks.
one to Noah.
I emailed you one if you could.
You emailed me one?
We could have, we knew.
No, you didn't. Yeah, okay. I was gonna say, that's okay.
So for the year of 2025, Newport Ambulance is asking for an increase of $4,104 from the town of Brighton. That includes dispatching also.
And what percentage is that? I'll have whatever.
Yeah, so it's just under $3 per cap. So we worked really, really hard to keep this a really low increase. I know in the past, we had said we were going to need a larger increase. A few things we did this past year is out of that station in Morgan, we picked up Ryder Hill, brought us in about $20,000. We also expanded and cover the UTGs. So that both those incomes came into that station. We're able to lower the increase that we needed from the towns.
What was it, 2024
Uh,
budgeted amount?
So it was a total of, for Brighton, it was $63,716 and an additional $5,990 for dispatch.
Total was 69,706.
Yeah.
This year, it's 73,810.15 cents. It's just the way it comes out.
Yeah. Can you repeat that
$73,810.15.
again, please?
73,810.15 cents.
Still 24 hours out there in Morgan,
Still 24 hours in Morgan.
and fully staffed, not having to call people in from home.
No, we're staffed there 24/7. And what we do is if the morning, so exactly like today, Noah said, so we had a car accident in Ferdinand, 2 people, so we had 2 trucks. We always move a truck from Newport. So I don't know if anybody drives through, you'll see a lot of times like at the Cow Palace in Derby, there's an ambulance there.
Yeah.
So if Morgan truck is out,
Yep.
the Newport truck will go to the Cow Palace. So they've cut the response time, but vice versa. If Newport's getting really busy, we move the Morgan truck to Derby so that they're closer. So we cut our response times. We do the same thing from Troy, same thing from Johnson. So our trucks are always moving, which also helps, you know, your response time. So if multiple calls go out from the Morgan station, you're not coming from Newport. They're actually coming from like the junior high, Derby. So we're always moving. All of our trucks are GPS, so we know where everybody is
Dispatching is still happening at Newport.
out of Newport, correct?
So the town of Island Pond is paying $73,000 for the ambulance service. Is that what I'm tracking?
Correct.
What were
Yes.
we paying, what were we paying historically when we had our own ambulance?
Oh, gosh. To run
Do-
an ambulance-
Significantly more.
Well, define significant.
So the last year. Go ahead.
$6,000 when your dad ran the service.
I don't care about my dad. I want to know how much we paid for the year. I'm asking a question because historically I'm trying to compare. That's all. Nothing about family.
The year that we switched,
140,000.
Yeah.
The year that
Right.
we, of course, that was 5 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That's still about half of
It
what
was-
they had quoted you 5 years ago.
So it was 140,000 just for Island Pond. And what I'm seeing total income is 548,000. That's what you handed out here, 548,000, and you're serving how many towns? 5, 6?
Out of that one, it's
Quite a bit.
so Holland, Morgan, Charleston, Brighton, and the UTGs.
Yeah, okay. That's what.
Yeah.
So net increase of a little over $4,100 for 2025.
That's $4,104.
Yes.
And that's with a $772 was the dispatch. And so we don't have a choice. Dispatch charges for every call that comes to Brighton.
So there's an additional seven.
No, 4,104 was the total that included the dispatch.
And so every town splits the cost evenly pretty
Yeah,
much.
well, no, it's per call.
Oh, I see.
So
Okay.
dispatch will give us we've done 142 calls to Brighton
Yeah.
at a cost of XYZ.
I see.
So next year, if you only have 50 calls, you'll see your dispatch go down.
Yeah.
If you have 200 calls, then your dispatch goes up.
And the reason we do that, Newport Dispatch, that's how they bill us.
Yeah.
So I think once upon a time, we used to charge a set fee for dispatching, and we realized it's really not fair for Derby to be paying the same as Island Pond, and we're getting charged per call for 400 calls for Derby and 50
Yeah.
for Island Pond.
So just to say,
So
Newport,
we felt that was fair for whoever's doing it.
Newport
It's
City
benefited you
dispatch
guys.
is 63,000 because their call volume is
Yeah.
thousands.
Higher.
Yeah. So as of this point today, we've been 143 times to Brighton in 2024.
Fair enough.
Our biggest expense is our people and our equipment. One of the things that is built into this budget is a 5% raise for our people, which is maybe will keep us up to what's going on. I mean, it's just absolutely nuts when you can go to Walmart, get paid $20 an hour. You know? So we've got to keep our people up. We also, Newport, we have a paramed service. Not every call has a paramed, but we're working on it. And that gets more important the farther away you are.
How many would you
Do
say?
you have one paramedic on?
We have one paramedic on every shift, a minimum of one. So actually my Saturdays I've got just falls and I have 3. But there's always one station in Newport. And so if a call comes out here, they're already sliding out here. So on the weekends, sometimes there's paramedics in Brighton or in Morgan because we rotate the stations.
And Jeff's a paramedic. So he's in Newport, so
Yeah.
you never know how many you're gonna need, but that's not, we'd like to have all paramedics, but you gotta pay them more.
That would be wonderful if everyone could be, but
Yeah.
it's education, it's certification.
We're
and
working on it. It's a 2-year program. They've got to do, it's a huge commitment for them to get to that point. We pay for it, but still, it's a big time commitment.
Yeah. ALS
And
is expensive.
yeah, the stuff that's going on in North Country Hospital right now is gonna make that more imperative as we go. So we're really trying to push that level,
Yeah.
because that'll be more important if you're not bringing them to Newport anymore.
Your personnel, increase number of personnel, say if we lose Newport, the hospital, do you see your potentially your
We would have,
growing?
we would have to. Honestly, I don't see us losing Newport. I think
I think
the state is, I think everybody, the hospital and everybody's.
it's a little,
We're all gonna find
it's
something
a
we
little
can.
scary, but we
Yeah.
talked about if that did come to fruition, we'd probably have to buy another vehicle, couple $100,000 and put a crew on. And just for that purpose.
Yeah.
And you gotta find the people. So that's not always easy to do up here either. So
Can somebody tell me why they're thinking of closing North Kingdom Hospital?
We're gonna talk that here in a minute.
Yeah.
So I've got the contracts, which I give to Noah, and if you guys are good, then just hand them off to him.
Questions for us?
Nope, I asked.
Questions?
Yeah. Good update. Thank you.
All right, thank you, guys.
Okay.
You.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Do we wanna,
Do you want to make a motion or do you want to table that for till next week? No, next week, but 2 weeks from now.
Okay, next.
I have, like, I mean, I just, maybe it's because I've seen the other contracts, like, there are no other options for that price.
Yeah.
I am okay with going ahead and signing it.
The 4,100, does this have to go? Does this have to go before the town for a
No.
budget
No,
referendum? Okay,
Well, I mean, well, it goes into the
goes in the budget.
budget, but
I see.
So we just have to account for it later on when we do the balancing of the budget.
when we do the balancing of the budget.
Okay.
And when does that price take? That price?
January 1. Yeah.
January 1.
We just started early to,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah,
because
thank you.
towns are starting earlier for their budget, so
And the due date on that contract
January 1, you know.
I mean, a $4,100 increase
is,
for a year, I think is definitely reasonable.
Yeah.
So,
We do everything we can. We're working on grants. We've hired a grant person, anything we can do to try to keep these town costs down.
Try to bring more money in. We do. We go out, do other things
Yeah.
that bring income into our service. And we keep trying to do that. We do training for other places.
so is a motion needed to?
So do we want to make a motion or do you want to table that?
Are we motion
You can make
Are we doing a
that's
motion
authorized me to sign
to
it.
accept and allow Noah to sign?
you can either choose
Yes,
that or choose
If
not.
that's what you want, yes.
I'll make a motion to have Noah sign the 2025 ambulance agreement for the total of 70, where's the number?
$33,810.
And 15 cents.
$3,810.15.
A second?
All in favor?
I,
Okay, thank you.
See you
All right.
tomorrow.
Thank you, guys.
thank you very much.
I've already signed the
Perfect.
contract, so.
So
on my-
just throw it in the mail.
Got it.
Perfect. All right,
very
thank you,
much.
sir.
You want the mail or email?
That
You tell
part of the
me.
budget.
Get us done during
Mail if
game.
you can, just.
Oh, no. well,
Thank you.
emergency services shouldn't.
Like, I know that based on.
Thank you, gentlemen.
the
Charlie. Take care,
no,
man.
up to like
See you.
250,000.
Yeah.
It was,
Yeah.
they were gonna pull out.
Okay,
We can
You wanna do
justify
public
that.
comment?
what's that?
You want to do public comment?
You want a public comment now? All right,
Sure.
I
okay.
have one thing.
Yep.
I'm just wondering why the meetings are pushed back to 4:30. The select board meetings instead of 5:30.
Because we
So-
thought it would be,
It was asked that we move it because they were getting long. Me personally, I know that when we get to the other business, I'm going to ask that we move it back a little bit because it's a struggle for me to get here at 4:30.
I made
is-
the motion 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, to have the meeting moved to 4:30. Because we were here at 8:30, 9 o'clock. If there's an executive session, it gets to be pretty long. And so a couple of us run a business in here, and so it was asked. Heather really is the one that has to work, and so she's gonna bring it up.
I work till 4 o'clock. So for me to get out of work,
Well, don't have,
it's very difficult, but it's also, and from my opinion, it's also very difficult for public to make it here to the meetings at 4 o'clock. 4:30. 4:30.
That's what I was gonna, that's where I'm going with this. If you're self-employed and own a business, you would have to shut down early to come here. I understand why you're doing it.
Yeah.
And also if you're working outside of town on 9 to 5, it's kind of tough to get here too, if you wanted to be on the agenda.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
You know, I mean, I'm not, maybe you can compromise and do it 5 or something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think she's gonna bring that up in other business.
Yeah.
I'm confused because we moved it from 5:30 to 4:30.
Yeah.
Right.
But you have a problem making it 4:30. So are we considering going back to
5
5?
o'clock.
I'm going to ask to see
She's
if we
gonna
can
ask.
go back.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
In other business.
I work,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yep.
Okay.
when it's very hard.
I
For
know.
years, the select board meetings were at 6:30 and you can go back to 19 whatever in the minutes. And yes, they go sometimes until 11 or 12 o'clock at night. They haven't gone that long in a long time, but when you deal with some stuff, they go very long.
I know. Believe me, I know.
Okay,
Oh, good.
so
We'll consider it.
let's get back to that when we bring it up again. So you want to go back to the Vermont Bond Bank?
Small systems.
Yes, Joel or Mike, small systems.
Yes.
Capacity. Very
So,
long name.
I assume you all know that we do have a leak in our
Was added.
reservoir. And it looks like we're going to have to reline them. And it was supposed to be part of the big project for upgrading the water treatment plants, but it's not going to wait. And so we have been presented with a grant program that will pay up to $250,000 towards that liner replacement and drilling a test well on a piece of property that we need to look at for potential alternative water source. So what I need from you guys is authorization for us to apply for that grant. It is from the Vermont Bond Bank. It's called the Small System Capacity and Resiliency Program Tier 2.
Is it a matching grant, Mike?
No, it is not. This one does not have a match. Although we do, I mean, the water department does have, if this project is more than 250,000, it does have a reservoir maintenance account to help cover the cost. But we don't have enough to actually pay for that out of pocket. They already told us that. So, and I don't know how much how much that's going to be. I've asked the engineer to give us a price on that because we don't have it yet.
And this is for the water?
This is for the south, well, actually, they're going to replace both reservoir liners at the same time because it'll be cheaper than doing them individually. But it's the south reservoir that has a big leak, like 30,000 gallons a day kind of leak. And they have been searching, trying to find this leak. And it appears that it's just, the gunite liner is just leaking. And so it needs to be lined.
I think.
So you need a board authorization to apply for the grant?
Correct.
Yes. Okay, so can we have a motion for that?
I make a motion to allow either Mike or Noah to apply for the $250,000 small systems capacity grant to assist with the replacement of the liners that are overdue.
Second,
Second it?
all in favor?
I'm
in support, but I have to abstain. There, we can put that on the minutes.
Oh, yeah,
I'll have
okay.
to abstain.
Don't I? Because I'm on the water board?
No,
Wouldn't that be
No.
considered a conflict? Okay, then I'm
No.
in favor.
you're on both boards. There's no reason that you.
Okay.
All right, so I guess we need a motion to appoint Tom Denellen for our town moderator for this next year's town meeting.
I make a motion to appoint Tom Denellen as the moderator for the town meetings.
That'll include the one for November 18th, correct?
Yes, he wants to do.
I will second that motion.
All I heard was
All in
an S in
favor?
there, so
All you heard was what?
S in there. Never mind, go
Oh,
ahead.
yes.
So 2 meetings.
The November 18th,
November.
zoning meeting and the town meeting.
Town meeting.
Okay.
I talked to Tom about it. He's willing to do it.
For those only?
So
Those
Greg,
only
you
are
have-
all meetings needed.
I'd say for those only for this year until we go until
Right.
moderation for next year, moderator for next year,
So
If
you
we have other
made the
meetings, we're gonna have to find a new
motion.
one.
potentially.
I second.
Here, a second. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, the next, we have the Memorial Park with the bushes or something of other.
Yeah, so if you guys are on Cross Street and you're going up here towards East Brighton, there's two bushes that sit there on Memorial Park. My question is, do you want us to, chop it? Or do you want us to remove them? There's two of them. They are an obstruction when you're there by the stop sign. Just give me a direction and we'll get it done.
If we trim them, because they have not been trimmed in a number of years,
Uh-huh.
what you're gonna wind out seeing is that they're gonna trim back significantly, and you're gonna wind out having branches exposed rather than fluffies
They'll grow back.
in a few more years, and then they'll be trimmed again because they're too big.
The only question I mean, I don't have to issue with it, but the question I had was the Island Pond revitalization, even though that's 4 or 5 years out.
Mhm.
Is that going to be part of the new landscape? In other words, are we doing something and paying for something that we really shouldn't? That's my question. Is
I
all
don't-
this, gonna be changed? The circle?
That was not in any of that, was it?
I don't think, I'm not sure
I
which
don't think so.
bushes are we talking about? Are them that on the side down towards Kingdom Market or the side up by,
In front of Yellow Deli.
in front of Yellow Deli? That probably would get, trying to remember, because I know they're gonna try and narrow up Main Street's entrance there, so it's not quite so wide.
So
It's
I
in
I
the
would recommend
project.
I just recommend doing a simple trim until we can get into the revitalization. That to me would
Sound good? We will
saves
do-
us money.
we'll have to
Heavy
look at it.
trim,
Trim.
trim them suckers.
That-
We'll see.
We'll see what they look
bushes
like
are.
after we're done.
I think there's, I
Yeah,
think
you
they're like.
Drive my super.
Yes, you will.
You just keep cutting and all of a sudden it's a little twig.
Yeah,
Because there's a giant
and
tree
then we'll
and then
say,
there's
oh
two
my
little
God, let's
sprucey,
just take it
not
out.
spruce. I think they're pine.
Really? Okay,
Left of the,
Looking at the bank to the left.
I'm sure someone donated it.
left of the bridge.
yeah,
No,
yeah.
no, no,
walkway?
down here. Right in
In the
here,
park.
right,
Maybe you
right
can
here, yeah,
transplant
the
them
park, okay.
somewheres.
Okay,
Okay,
got it.
so
that part.
we're all good
right,
with that.
yep.
Do we need to have,
Nope,
we know,
nope.
we can just do this, right? All right.
I can just do it. Yep, no problem.
All right, so the Forest Parks and Rec Grant.
I apologize. I think I've got the wrong name on there, but Joel, this is your grant that you were talking about.
Right, I thought so. Right, the tennis courts are in need of repair. We've all known that. We've talked about that. There is a grant. The park is a Land and Water Conservation Fund park, LWCF. They have a grant program up to $50,000. It's a matching grant, so the town would have to come up with $50,000 from other sources. Other sources can include in-kind and other grants, and some of those are available. We have, I think, a rough idea that the improvements we want to make are an artificial surface that we've discovered. Noah knows about, Mike knows about. It's about $100,000. So this grants bring that in the realm of possibility. The only problem is that it's a long process, and we would not be able to do any, if awarded the money, we would not be able to go to construction before 2026 at the earliest, and possibly as late as 2028. So in the meantime, we'd have to effect repairs on the court to get it through, which I think we could do. So I guess what I want from the board is not necessarily a motion in this case, but I'd like to start looking into this grant and start applying for the money. It's you get to it's a pre-application process. So I would apply for to get in the final list of applicants. It's a winnowing out process, very competitive. So we would get a decision whether we would be ultimately eligible by December. And if we were eligible, then we get the full application process. So I just want to know now if the board has any objections to us working on this process, or I don't know any other way to get the tennis courts constructed. It's just a matter of taking some time. So if there's no objections, I'd like to proceed and work. I'm sure Mike and Bob will work with me on this. But there are several grants that I'd like to look into, including this one. So if there's no objections, I'd like to work on.
Bill, you're saying this grant's only good up till December?
No, they come out on a regular basis. They come out yearly. It's just that we would get selected. If we got selected, we'd probably get the award in 2025. Then they have to send us, since it's a federal program, the state would review the application. And if they liked it, they'd send it to the federal program, because LWCF is a federal program. Then the feds would review it and send back their approval to the state. So it's just takes some time. We wouldn't have any money before 2026 for sure. But it's a big grant program. There's up to $1 million available, but we don't need that much. But the matching grant would be a BGS grant, Buildings and General Services, for maybe $25,000. And then if everything went well, we would have a match of about 25 grand, which we could start putting away now.
And I do know that, like, I attended the call because Brighton Rec involved. The committee is behind and they have funding that they will also help with the match, and their labor would help with the match as well.
It doesn't hurt to apply. We're
Right.
not obligated. If we're awarded, we're not
Right.
obligated. So
That's right. We'll keep you posted. I just don't want to go through this work and then maybe have the board later decide, oh no, we didn't want to do that. So if there's any objections, I'd like to know now is all.
I think it gives us time to plan anyway. And from what Mike briefed about 2 months ago, we can put some patching work in there. We talked to the guy who actually talked to Mike, and we did, so I think patching work to cover it. And who knows, next year's budget or the year after, we might have more monies to be able to do it. Because I think what I saw is absolutely needed. And when you look at the summertime events and things that need to be done for this community, I think it's absolutely worthwhile. But spending the thought back then, Mike, correct me if I'm wrong, was take $50,000 out of the infrastructure reserve fund. Well, obviously that got blown out of the water with the floods this summer. So these grants are actually, if it's easy to apply and it doesn't commit us, I think it's well worthwhile to just go ahead and do
I
it.
agree.
You have to make it,
Some leeway.
Yeah.
like, it's weird to have an application to apply for the grant, like,
Right.
you apply and then they say, yeah, and then you gotta apply again, and then they say, yeah, it is a long process.
Well, it's probably competitive too. And given what, the other things that are going on infrastructure wise, I attended that press conference. Most of us did, there's things that are moving forward in momentum. And I think that's going to draw people. And so the more that we can think about drawing people for various reasons is important. Yeah, Mike.
Did you guys see the new pickleball courts they put into Derby? They honestly have a league over there with 205 members that play every night of the week.
Oh, yeah.
And then they go to all the restaurants and everything else in town. So it's a huge economic development opportunity.
It is.
Well,
No,
sure.
absolutely.
As-
Island Pond's a
as
bit
part of
smaller,
this-
but it is.
As part of this,
And honestly, those people come from out Morgan Way. A lot of them are out there. They come and use our court when they can't get on derbies because it's booked literally every night of the week.
Yeah. As long as they turn the lights off at night. We're good.
Joel, are you looking for a motion for this or just for?
no,
an
I
okay
just
opinion?
want to know if
Just
there's
to
any
see how we feel
objections.
about it?
I don't know what kind of motion you'd really make at this point.
Okay, good.
But it is not a simple application. I'm going to tell you, it is a lengthy application if we get allowed to put in a full application. But 2026 and 2028 even will be here before you even know it. So it's wise to start now in this, I would say. So, and this will, I think another part of this is that we would probably want to join the United States Tennis Association. We used to belong. It was $35 a year. And we got some grants from them. And if we put this application together, it's going to look good for us if we're a member. And it's going to look good for us if we actually have tennis programs that we could plan. All these things make what is a good application. The grantors want to know that you're really using this money well. So if we would have events and things like that, tournaments and stuff, it would really look good for us. And pickleball, we'll probably contact the Pickleball Association if there is one and get them to join in the effort and maybe join with them. I don't think a membership is very expensive. Like I say, it was $35 a year 10 years ago. So I guess I would like the board to authorize us to apply for membership in the USTA, and if there's a pickleball association, a membership there. If they're not more than.
Seeing that we did in the motion for Mike to apply for a grant, I think we need to do a motion to allow you to apply for a grant.
That's fine.
So I make a motion for Joel to apply for
Land and Water Conservation.
WCF grant for the purpose of rebuilding or replacing our tennis court.
I second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right.
And to
Joel,
join
can
the
you go-
USTA.
Joel,
That's what I was gonna say.
I really think that you should send that over to the Recreation Committee and ask them to help the town with that. Granted, we have very limited funding.
Okay.
But that was definitely something that Brighton Recreation is looking into. As far as like different things that we can help the town. Depending, they may need half from the town, half from Brighton Rec, because we only have so much money. But we support, the Brighton Rec Committee does support that membership, and we'll definitely help
Okay.
with that.
Maybe bring it up.
We'll bring it up and say, I gotta bring you guys an update next week.
Okay.
Next meeting anyway from Brighton Rec. Yep.
Okay.
Thank you.
So let's go on to the safety grant.
So a while back, you guys probably, it's been several meetings, several months, but Andy was talking about doing a pedestrian kind of lighted walk path going across in front of Dollar General. Just want to know if that's kind of where you guys wanted it, if that's kind of the location, you're okay with that, we were going to proceed with purchasing.
Any chance we have enough money to buy two?
We'll see.
I don't understand anything you said.
This was the lighted crosswalk signs.
Oh, okay. So
So if you
this
yeah,
topic is totally different from what the email you sent out. So I didn't recognize it.
the safety grant?
Safety grant.
Lighted crosswalk. Okay,
That's right.
The same.
I see. Okay.
So a lighted crosswalk where the Dollar General is, where all the big trucks.
Sign, not crosswalk.
Like the road doesn't light up, but the signs light when you step into the path,
Yeah, it's got
Oh.
like, like
I
stick.
didn't see that. I didn't know
Right?
they had that.
Yeah, that's I mean that's what we're hoping for. I think there's only like $2,500 or $3,500 in that grant for it,
How
so
much?
we'll see what we can get.
Right.
Um,
And the conversation all came up when we brought up
That's right.
speeding on various roads. So we're still working to get the engineers to look at our
Mhm.
roads, infrastructure and speed limits and all that. But this, I think, would be a deterrent or at least a
heads up, there's one
safety.
here.
heads
So there's
up.
parking there. I mean, I would put it on Cross Street.
Yeah,
And if we had a second one, I would put a second one on either the big long one,
Mhm.
you know, somewhere in that region.
the issue, I agree. The challenge would be if we do the Island Pond revitalization thing, are we gonna be tearing up something to put something else in?
These are just
So,
the signs though.
The Cross Street one down by Dollar General, I think we wouldn't be tearing up, right? Oh, they're just cross signs?
They're signs. We're
Yeah.
not lighting up the actual road.
Yeah, but the signs have to be put in, right?
It's not like there are crosswalk signs there right now.
Okay.
So it's
There.
just a slightly different post.
It's kind of like the flashing stop signs, it'll be solar powered, they're just gonna be on the pole, and so they
Okay.
can be taken off the pole, relocated. You
Probably
can-
That
like
one
they-
doesn't flash anymore, by the way.
Like the stop sign,
When did that stop flashing?
I don't know.
the stop
Sorry,
sign?
Gene. Yeah, it's not flashing anymore. I
Oh
mean,
my
people go-
God.
Oh, yeah.
Thank
Well,
God Teddy's
I
not here.
only
Is that
know 'cause I
sign,
live
Joel?
there and I can see it every day.
Yeah.
You got
I
our
saw
money's
it
worth
flashing
out of
this
that one.
morning.
Picture it.
I bet it needs
don't
new
know if I
batteries.
Actually saw it.
Probably does.
In my head, it's still flashing.
So you're asking where to put this?
Yep.
So where's Where do we?
So-
The Dollar General.
Cross Street.
Where do we get the most traffic? Cross Street, but.
I think Cross Street down by the Dollar General
That's
is the
busy
one
there
that you
'cause
don't
people-
see because people park on each side.
It's real busy.
The lake and all
Yeah.
that.
So from Dollar General across the street to the park?
Yeah.
Park.
Okay.
Right.
The Pavilion.
That's
Yeah.
actually real busy.
Oh, yeah.
It's a
Yeah.
busy one and there's cars
Absolutely.
there and
These work in the wintertime? Do we
Yeah,
know?
they should.
yeah,
They
Yeah.
should.
Yeah.
Of
Okay.
course.
They should.
because it's the sign. Like it lights up when you step in, like it's not lit up. And then when you step in, they light up, just draw a little more attention.
As long as snowmobilers don't go across them, that's the only. Isn't that the same place that they cross to go to the pavilion, Gene? The snowmobilers?
Yeah, but why would they run over it?
That's a great question.
I mean, I'm sorry, but I wouldn't.
See, I
wanna
don't,
be
I
able to
think
run
it's,
over
I think
it
it's a
like over
motion
it.
detector.
Is it? Yeah.
Like, I think it's a motion, kind of like your motion lights,
Yeah, yeah.
where it picks up the person standing there and it lights up. It's not like it's a sensor in the ground that you've got to jump up and down on to get light up.
Okay, fair.
Dollar General.
Yeah, I
Well,
think.
that's an Andy question. That's when we order the sign. That's what we'll figure out what we can get. It's just, you guys okay with that location for it?
Yep, primary, and if you
Okay.
have enough money for two, we can do the other one.
Got it.
You got enough money, buy as many as you can.
Can I ask a question on that? I know a couple of months ago, you guys approved those in speed things. What's the status on those? The speed limits. You can order 3, one for over here, one down by the school, and one on Derby Street.
So that we have to do a speed study first,
Oh, okay.
and that we have to have NVDA come out.
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah,
I was just wondering.
but to give you an update, I spoke with Merlin Controls this morning. They're sending our sign back on Pleasant Street.
Oh, cool.
It's done. It's ready. Should work.
Good. Thank you.
Did they say what was wrong with that just for shits and giggles? They said, was it back? They don't know?
Was it the battery?
Really tell them, they just said, here's the invoice.
Good. Oh,
Can you find out what was wrong with it?
I'm sorry?
Can you find out what was wrong with it?
I
It'll probably
can.
be on the invoice.
I'm sure it'll be
You'll
on the
probably be
invoice.
with it when it comes in, right?
he said-
I mean,
It'll be
it's
identified
probably
on
on
the
the
invoice.
invoice what was wrong with it.
We got what they replaced for sure.
Yeah. Be interested to find out.
Because the other one
Okay.
seems to be working just fine.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay, so let's go on to the board's opinion of the Newport Hospital. I really don't know what. I mean,
You guys take a moment to read through that document,
Yeah, 144 pages.
yeah,
I read the summary.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I printed off the executive summary as well, and I mean, I
Do they
would
need a
love,
letter from us saying that we would like to keep it open?
That's
is
it.
that what they're asking?
That's it. That's all they're
Yeah.
asking.
All right,
Can,
I'd say
You
let's
guys would
do
have
the
to
letter.
write it and then sign it.
Well, I just understood Charlie and them. They said that the hospital was gonna be okay.
Well-
they need, it does not hurt them to have support. If I draft the email, I'd have to send it to you and then you'd
I'll
send it out
send it
to
out.
everybody, right?
Yep, and then what I'll do is if you guys are okay with the letter, just reply back and say, yep, it's all good. I'll go around and pull the board, have each of you sign it and mail it off.
okay,
I will aim to have it drafted by Monday.
that sounds good.
I just.
You
wanna
had
know
a
what-
question, Ann,
Yeah.
yeah.
The reason why they're even thinking of closing down.
It's all about money.
Money.
Why-
Yeah,
They did an analysis, like third-party analysis, and they said it,
Enough business.
Well,
It was a state board or something that did the study, right?
yeah.
I'm not.
No, they hired a consulting firm to
Yeah.
do the study.
And that was just one of what? One of 5? One of
Mhm.
6?
Yeah, at least half a
But it's
dozen.
all, it always comes down to the remote rural places. They,
mhm.
But they had some issues there, didn't they, with staff and
They did it.
didn't they, a couple of years?
everyone is, there isn't a hospital out there who isn't struggling with medical staff. The way it's, yeah.
Well, this was, I think, had to do with the
And
big
it-
shots there, it's the money stuff, so.
Okay,
Anyway, we need the hospital.
Well, anyways, we need, yeah.
Okay,
so you have a,
Year after year, they're showing a negative. No.
I know, I go to St. Jay.
Year, so.
okay.
Same distance,
We all good
but
with this? So you're gonna write the letter and we're gonna sign it? We're good?
I will write a letter, hopefully by Monday, send it to Noah. Noah will send it to you guys. And then
Perfect.
you can get feedback to Noah and we can fix it.
Okay,
Or I'll send you an editable copy
Oh,
and people can edit it on Word with your little No? Okay.
Yeah.
We'll just do that.
Okay,
Okay.
so let's go on to the gym use policy.
Skip the whole,
You're all over the place, Gene.
skip number
Well,
10.
I'm just following the agenda.
No, you're not.
Go.
Well,
Sorry.
it's the one I got.
Yeah, that's my fault.
Yeah. I didn't get the new one, so
So,
I'm
so
sorry.
Gene, number 10 is scope
Scope creep.
creep discussion.
It's what?
Scope creep discussion.
All right. Can we just do gym use policy first? Go ahead.
Whatever, you're in Florida, whatever. Gym
All
use
right.
policy, what is it?
So what I would like to ask you guys, if you're okay with me continuing with the MOU and that discussion with the school and a quid pro quo between the school and the town, and we're not charging anybody anything, we're just saying Brighton Rec, if they need space, the town needs additional space, we can utilize theirs without charging anybody, and same goes for the school.
So the current rate for the school, just so everybody knows, is $20 an hour per room. Plus $25 for cleaning.
Yeah.
That's on their SU. Could you repeat that?
And they're-
$20 an hour per room
So what are you saying?
and $25
That's
for
the
cleaning.
current, that's the current ask.
So.
And what we're discussing is an MOU, correct me if I'm wrong,
An MOU to
alleviate that.
alleviate them charging
Yeah.
entities like Brighton Rec, like the town of Brighton, like any of those within the township for use of their fee,
Yeah.
use of their space.
So we're all on the same sheet of music. Essentially, two boards are coming together to agree. It's all for the kids anyways.
Yep.
90.
Okay.
And
So-
just to,
yeah.
Sorry, to
Go
give you
ahead.
guys a heads up on anything additional with the gym. I just talked to Bill Burns today. I'm still waiting for that schedule from the school. As soon as I get it, I will pull the other coaches together for them to hash out a schedule between themselves. I tried to hash it out for them my first year here. Bad idea. I'll never do it again. They'll figure it out, pulling them together, but I still don't have a schedule from them, so I don't know what days he's gonna need until I see it in front of me. Brighton Rec is okay, though. I did
But
check on
the
that.
school hasn't finalized their schedule yet?
The
No.
athletic
Okay.
director has not.
Okay.
It usually happens about the day before they start practicing.
Just about, yep. Okay, but that's okay. We'll make it work.
All right.
Okay, so what was next on the agenda?
Scope creep.
These discussions.
Scope
creep.
creep.
Scope creep.
What, with your guys' permission, what I'd like to do is just do a very quick resurvey with each of the employees. I tried to get them nailed down, especially the office staff this week. Clearly that wasn't
Not this
happening. Yeah. And so the conversation there was, we would love to add input, but can you push it a little bit? I said, I'll ask, but I think that would be okay. And that way more employees can have more in-depth conversation and contribute to what scope creep kind of is. What's allowed, what isn't allowed, what do they believe is a part of their daily task, what isn't.
Would this result in a duties and responsibilities kind of thing that we've been talking about for quite some time? Like what?
The job description?
I mean, can we work towards that with this? If you're doing a survey,
It helps with that.
you know?
Yeah.
You know, 'cause
I-
we're looking for mission, vision, task organization. Sorry, I'm relating a lot of stuff, but I think duties and responsibilities, if somebody lands into a job, they'd like to know what the left and right limits are. Maybe this can help to that, is
Sure.
what I'm suggesting.
The answer is yes, it
Okay,
can.
yeah.
But with the union negotiations, some of that may change.
Oh, yeah, no,
So just.
I got that.
Want to let you guys
That's fair,
know
that's
what we
fair.
write up might change.
That's fair. Okay. So yes,
Okay.
go ahead, delay. I'm speaking for myself here, not the board.
So I think it's important to know, because I mean, what we think they're doing and what they may reality be doing may be into entirely different things.
Okay, so what's next on the agenda?
Growing up road.
I got budget, I don't know.
No,
Throwing
We'll
up
get there.
roads.
Roads, okay.
growing up roads, go ahead.
So did you guys think more about that? Is that something you want me to pursue? Do we want to go down that road?
Have,
I will admit, This past week, I received some calls from individuals on Pocket Street that were not too happy with that road
Mhm.
being thrown up. There are 3 homes there as well. So the question,
Pocket Street.
Mhm.
Pocket
Down
was-
down below Greg. Or not, Greg, John.
No,
Yep.
the, right across the railroad track where the old feed store is, and then there's that road on the right.
yep,
Oh, Pocket,
right, right.
Yes,
Pocket
Pocket.
Street.
Yes.
Okay.
So we have, I was curious what happened when it hit the paper and stuff, if we had gotten any.
About
feedback.
those issues, no.
well, if you really think it through, right, you have to show that there is beyond a reasonable doubt that you need to throw up that road, right? So one of the roads, I believe it was, correct me if I'm wrong, Mike, but it was up on Mountain Street, I want to say.
Yes.
And it was,
Yeah.
that guy doesn't want us, plowing that road anyway. It's his land. He's happy to do it. That one makes total sense, right? Pocket Street, though, there are 3 people that live down there, and the complaint I have is, okay, so you don't plow it. We call 911. Someone drops dead and there's a heart attack. Ambulance can't get through. Fire truck can't get through. Guess who's to blame? The answer would be us.
Why? It's private property.
Pocket
Not,
Street.
not,
It
not-
would be,
Not the
not.
street.
it would be once, if we threw it up, it would no longer be a maintained road.
Right.
Yep.
Which
Um,
I'm not saying you can't do that, but I caution you against that because at any moment, any individual on that street can appeal the entire decision, which then takes you into litigation.
if we're already getting feedback, my concern is, I don't know if you guys have read other stories with other towns. There is a town right now that the road was thrown up. They went through the whole process and they are in the legal,
Is it Glover?
yeah,
Yeah.
they're in the legal side of it right now, and it's costing them a boatload because the people on that street don't want it thrown up. I personally, the one piece of property I own beyond what's in here, I wouldn't have bought it if it wasn't on a public road.
And given we're talking 5 roads, yeah, some have only, 1 resident on the road, but given the legal process that we would have to go through, and if they contest it, then it's a continual legal process. I don't think it's worth the money or the headache, to move forward with it. However, I do recommend, we discussed last meeting, because they had to turn around on private property.
Right.
What was that use agreement, or
Yeah,
what was it called?
Oh, it wouldn't be an easement.
Right away.
Right away.
Right away use
Yeah.
agreement?
I think our better option is to pursue a right of way, so we have space to turn around.
That,
Is there a place to turn around when you get to the end of that? That's crowded in there.
Not a Pocket, there isn't.
No, I was
No.
gonna
And
say.
say it's not easy.
No, and then
And
going
so
up
what do they normally
Belvedere,
plow that with, the 1 ton?
I think he
I
has
was
to back out, didn't he say that?
No,
at the meeting?
yeah.
That is kind of miserable, but again, like you're saying, it costs a lot of money
Yeah.
to
And
throw
what-
them up, and for that short distance, I don't know.
Yeah.
And I mean,
It's
if
not-
we,
Not Cahill Road, what's the one up by the railroad tracks? Is it Cahill?
No, the
Not Cahill.
Maple,
Cargill?
South, Mountain, and Middle Streets were.
Cargill.
Cargill, where
Yeah.
Yeah,
Andy said he had to turn around and took out a bunch of equipment or whatever. That's why we need that use agreement.
and
That's right.
going at it that
Well,
way,
that's it.
I almost
ahead.
think if we go to those people that are on there and say, hey, we need to get this right of way, which doesn't cost as much. If they all then say, well, what would it take to just make the road our own? Then we know that they're on board with it. And
and then we.
then they wouldn't be fighting and it wouldn't cost, and we'd still wind out with the same result.
I think for the time being, we ought to just leave that Pocket Street alone for this winter and see what we can do to just fight with that.
But there's 5 roads.
I say.
Well,
Well, no,
no,
five
but
roads
there'll
we
be only
talked about, and it's a
4.
120-day process anyway. So
Yeah, well.
even if we do it, it's still not gonna happen until next year.
Yeah.
I think we
And-
should go to people on all 5 and get those right of ways.
But one of them doesn't want his plowed anyway, so are we down to 4?
Down to 4. Yeah.
Right.
That's right.
So
Okay.
the one, we hold off on doing the actual throw up until we do them all together, just because then they cost less money. Cause there's everything that goes with it. And the 4, go the route of getting the right of way. And when those owners see it and say, well, we'd rather just take ownership of the road ourselves. Okay, we'll add you to the throw up list. If they say we'll sign the right of way, okay, we get the right of way and we're covered.
So
Okay.
I don't want to make this too long, Gene, sorry, but we had this VLCT worksheet that you gave to us when we started talking this whole process thing. Once we go into this process, does that commit us to the whole thing? Because it sounds to me like right now we're giving warning. We're gonna, through certified mail or whatever, we had talked about, let's just talk to these people and see what they want to do.
Mhm.
I think if we follow the worksheet without committing us, because I don't want to go into the lawyer aspects of it, but step one, it was pretty clear. We initiate the process, we say as a board, and then step two is we give notice. However we do that, we set date and time to give notice, whether it's certified mail, we have a meeting, whatever.
Most likely certified.
Right. And it sounds to me like some of these are going to fall off because they'll be like, well, we don't want to do that. And then maybe we can pursue the other actions. Does this go away from the last time we talked? I thought we had agreed to just go step by step.
Well, that's true.
Well,
Or am I out in left field? I'm sorry.
Well, last time we spoke about this, I just, like we're talking right now, to get into it pretty heavy. It was a lot of work for, the steps that we gotta go through. It's time consuming and maybe some expense to that. I mean, can we go to these people and get an opinion from them?
That's the notification.
That's what I was.
What we're saying is,
But I mean, do we have to?
No, it doesn't commit us to the rest of it. That's what I was getting at, Mike.
Oh, yeah, okay,
It
well,
won't commit us to the lawyer fees.
that
and all
just,
that.
all right, so basically it's just a letter.
Yeah.
So what I'm-
Just notifying them that,
And is that something you guys want to do?
what I would say is Pocket's already said pretty much no.
correct. So we don't.
So there's no point in even sending them a letter.
That's right. But there was Mountain Street, Middle Street, South Street, and Maple that were all brought up last time.
And Belvedere.
Why not, not Mountain?
Belvedere.
The end of Mountain Street, there was a guy that said, well, you don't have to worry about it.
That's right. So that brought us
That
down to
wasn't
4.
Mountain Street. That was the street off Mountain Street.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I
Right,
read
right,
that one.
not on Mountain
That's
Street.
Town Highway something.
Yes.
Highway
32.
Yeah. And
Can
then
I
there was
say
Middle
something?
Street, South and
Okay.
Maple.
Joel?
It was in the
Oh.
in the
And there's
notes.
cargo.
Because there was
I
one
wrote
the
them
end
and
of
I'm
Bellevue.
not remembering.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Bellevue,
I'm gonna see if I can-
Belvedere, whatever it was.
One section of Bellevue.
I'm gonna quickly go on my phone.
Want to say something, Joel?
Well, do you have your minutes?
I can wait.
They're not printed here.
Yeah, that's Bellevue,
We're
Belvedere.
all talking in
Bellevue.
different language here.
Bellevue, second half.
Or the extension.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Joe.
I just want to say
Allard
that,
Allard Farm, 1 residence. Paquette Street, 2 residents, 3 now. Third was Bellevue Street, 1 resident. Fourth was Birch Street, something or other. I can't read my writing. And then the 5th one was the Town Highway 32, which was Danny Verge. That was by Mountain Street. So those 5 were the ones that were brought up when we went over this worksheet. Allard
so
Farm.
Mike, oh,
Yeah.
sorry.
Go ahead, Joel. Go ahead.
My comment on this is that before you even bother with this, you're going to ultimately have to make a decision of whether throwing up any of these roads is to the public good. And if you can't, you could consider that decision right now. Can you argue that in any way that this is for the public good? If you can't make that argument, you might as well stop now. Don't even bother sending any letters.
Can't say it's because we can't turn around. You can't say it's because the cost is too much. It especially if we've been doing it for so long. That's the kicker here.
Yeah.
That's why it's so hard to throw up a road.
It's reading into the road throw up process.
I think
public-
we just
Go ahead, Gene.
keep going the way we are with this, as far as opening these roads, and go to the landowners there and asking them for the right of way. And like you said, if they don't want to give us the right of way, then I guess we can't, I don't know, but I think that's the way to do it. Let's not get into this long process when it could probably be solved in 2 weeks. You know what I'm saying? Go to the owner, the
It's giving me a hard
landowners and
time.
ask them. What's that?
I was trying to get into my email to pull up the document because I don't have it
Oh,
here. I
okay.
left my house in a
I
rush.
mean, that's my opinion. It's just like, there's no sense in making this a big deal. Just go to those people and ask them what they think and,
That's what I said to do, but again, we
Yeah.
discussed, like Pierre just said, says writing a letter that is, you gotta go through.
I get that,
particular
but
steps.
this is just. So we get some feedback from them. There's no sense in going this whole legal thing and, they might agree and like you said, what is it's all about the public good and really if an ambulance can't get in there, fire trucks can't get in there, that's not public good.
What it sounds like is that we didn't meet the requirement to be able to throw up a road. Being inconvenient isn't a reason to throw up a road.
And like, the cost, they're all gonna renege on this anyways, I bet you. All the four that, other than third two, they're all gonna just not agree to do it.
Well, we have to go through the
Exactly.
process.
Yeah, we still
They
got-
probably
yeah.
will, but we have to
I would-
know,
I would-
we have to know that we at least
For us-
inform them of this and then.
So
That's right.
at all of you, speaking as one, how would you like to direct me to move forward?
And just what Gene said, just
Now contact the landowner through
Let's-
the certified mail, which is one of the first steps in.
or just face to face, whatever. I mean,
Right,
just
just go up
canvas,
to them
Go
and,
talk to them.
yeah,
Right,
canvas them and see what it is, and then we can
Yep.
move forward.
Hold on. So one option is to ask for the right of way and let them suggest we throw it up. And the other way is to notify them that we are throwing them up.
Place certified now. Yep.
Yeah.
But I
So
think
what
you
do
have to make the
So the two-
decision, is
So-
is throwing it up, is
You
there a
can't-
public good coming out of that?
I
Otherwise,
I
don't
don't
there's
see,
no.
I don't see a public
So-
good throw.
so there's no sense in mentioning that. I don't think.
So we failed the public good for
The-
throw up, so we
Pretty
can't
much all we
technically
want to
throw 'em up.
do, pretty much all we want is the right of way. Because obviously we're not gonna throw up the roads. We just want a right of way to turn around.
I can do.
And who's gonna pay for it?
Who's gonna pay for?
Well, what Heather was talking about is
It's-
if we get them the right of way, who's gonna pay for it? Is it gonna be the residents if we come to them?
No, right of way is
No.
us still maintaining it.
So we're
It's
It's
still
gonna,
just-
our road.
Yep.
We
Yep.
just are protected if for turning around.
okay, so we have,
On
That
their
was our
driveway or in
Yeah.
a,
so we have to
Yeah.
put money in.
they probably just do it now. They just turn
Yeah.
around somebody's driveway.
It's
That's it.
just,
That's correct.
right now, we turn around the driveways. It's just covering us so that if we do
Yeah,
bump them,
Yeah.
and it gives us a right of way
Take out a
that
mailbox
says,
or something like that.
it's a formal agreement basically between the landowner and us that we need enough room to turn the truck around so that we can keep plowing your road,
I see.
keep your stuff back.
Okay.
Right. Okay, so what's on your agenda?
November performance evaluation. Heather, I'll let you take this one off.
Yay, it's performance evaluation time for Noah. So I have a bunch of forms that we can do, and I scan them off. But we're gonna have to get together ourselves to go through the review process. I believe that reviews should always be a two-part process, which is number one, get feedback from employees, their direct reports specifically, people that work with them, and then compile that with the board's decision, and then present that to him as his annual review. So, my question is obviously, when we're compiling stuff, Noah's not going to be there. That is actually going to be executive session as we compile stuff. When do we want to do this?
Well,
By the way, there's no deadline on it. It's just, that's in my contract.
It's in his contract that is to be done. Last year it got done in January. I'd like to aim to have it completed by January, which means starting it now.
sure. I say add an executive session at the end of each of our meetings and start the process. That's easy.
Okay,
Not including this
That way we
meeting,
can talk
please.
about it.
right, no.
No,
Do what?
not including
Not this meeting.
she said.
Oh, no, there's already an executive session.
Yeah.
Okay,
Talk
All right.
about Gene.
That's right. So, all right, what else we got on the, I got budget next.
we got budget.
Yeah, there you go.
Mm.
Right. You guys ready for this one? I don't think I'm ready for this one. Pass that down for me.
Yes, give us the whole stack. We'll take one and pass it down, just like we do in grade school. Whoop. Why is this, like, this is stapled in the wrong, you get one? Yeah.
Yeah, this is a different one. I'm gone.
Oh, okay, so the staples in this are in silly spots.
Blame the printer. Said it would do top left, it didn't do top left.
Oh, good. Thank you.
Take one, pass it in. Just the whole stack.
So it's different.
It looks like he's giving us one page for each department.
That is correct.
Okay, so this is roads.
So you should have one for roads, one that starts with clerk and treasurer.
Yeah,
Then you're going to get another one. That is going to go over recreation, economic development, and the general fund.
at the sheriff department, and
Does everybody have that one?
what,
Yeah.
Department?
I've got a separate one for sheriff
Yeah,
department.
separate one for sheriff department.
Page two.
I know, but there's no page, but it's,
So all this information is also located in the big budget packet I gave you, but this is just so you guys have some room to write, make the ideas and decisions.
Yeah, Katie, you handed out blank sheets.
page one.
Yeah, I don't know.
I know,
I reviewed the one that they emailed us, spreadsheet, this. So Noah, what is page one?
These are.
They're not labeled page one.
I know that.
Start with the road crew.
Thank you.
That's the first one, because that's what you asked for.
This is the one that says legal services.
Okay, road crew. Road crew, right. Okay,
I believe we need one more one that starts with legal services.
two.
I don't believe Greg. Flip it over, there's one or two something. Legal is
number these legal services. I know.
on the Brighton rec one. The rec and economic development. No, we've got a blank page in here, but I'm getting rid of it. It's causing confusion. Greg is missing that one. The one that says,
Road department, clerk, treasurer, town manager, administrator, sheriff department.
You hand them out to anybody else that wasn't the board. So
he is missing the one that starts with
Legal.
I think
services.
they've got,
legal services on one side and recreation or economic development and legal services, this one. This is the one he's missing.
I think they have it right behind you.
So it should start, the whole process should start with a page that says Town of Brighton Annual Budget Review at the top, correct?
You're going for roads first.
Mm-hmm.
Second page is,
Hold on, stop. Wait, it says roads at the top.
you know,
It's the stapled one.
Stapled one is useless because the second page is blank.
okay.
What's his name? Can't
Yeah.
we call it page two? Right on it, page two.
I mean, what you sent us, as far as the spreadsheet is concerned, was the very first page was clerk and treasurer, town manager, administrator.
No, there's a new one. It's road department. Is the first one. That's the one I got. I just actually pulled it up.
Right. Yeah, because it was missing on the first one. All right.
That's right. It's on there now.
Okay,
So we're starting with the road department?
Yes,
okay. And
Right.
then the next
Start with the
page.
road department, next page.
clerk and treasurer,
Okay,
second econ,
okay,
sheriff department.
Yep,
Right.
got it.
Okay, and just for reference, each of you have one of these. It's the same thing as the Excel document that you have in front of you. Same thing. Only difference is you guys requested it to be larger, and I added a space so you guys could write in your recommendation. So
Yeah,
for reference, I only made enough copies for the board.
sorry.
It's okay.
There's one, two,
You should have 4 sheets.
yeah, I have sheets.
Okay.
He mentioned something. I've got road, I've got,
Clerk and treasurer,
yeah,
rec and econ.
I don't have that one.
Okay.
That's the one I'm missing. Unless it's on the
Right
back
over there.
side.
The other side of rec and econ says legal services.
Oh, well, no,
It's got it up.
so I do have it. It's upside down. There we go. I'm straightened out. Thank you.
So Greg, you brought this one up. Why did you want to go over this one again? Kind of fill us in here.
Why did we want to go over what again?
So do you remember a couple meetings ago, how we went over the road department? Andy came in and gave a proposal. And you guys had your proposed numbers off to the right.
The issue was is that it was missing from the tab, so we didn't have everything together. That's why he wanted it added in.
I see.
It wasn't that we wanted to go over in budget proposals. We needed to have it included in the spreadsheet.
I see.
So this gives you, and we didn't have accurate actuals on the budget side.
That was the other.
So
issue.
now we have accurate actuals.
Oh, yeah.
And we have the recommendations so far that's been plugged in.
And from what you guys wanted last time. Yep.
That wasn't what we wanted. That's what was recommended by the foreman. We have not agreed to any of that.
Or the fireman or the librarian.
We haven't agreed to any of them. These are just what we're compiling for recommendations.
So just proposals.
The actual is as of when, Noah? Today? Thank you. 6 November.
And so what's today's date?
6 November. Okay. Perfect. Greg, you have it?
Are the actuals, aren't they only up to September now? September 30th?
Well, I was asking.
So I spoke with Teresa, and while she has not closed out the year, she assured me that all the expenses are up to date as of today.
Perfect.
So when you look at this, you will see that the closeout has September on here, not November. You're 30 days behind your closeout. So you'll see that when we're in December, you'll see November at the top of this. And that's kind of how those go.
Okay.
But
Yeah. I'm not ready to make any decision or
Oh, no, we're
recommendations
not either.
today.
No, do we have any departments that have not given us their suggestions?
yep, clerk treasurer
Okay,
on the, you call it page 2, if you will, second one here. The clerk treasurer has clerk treasurer, town manager, and administrator on.
And who's going to give us the update on that?
So these are actually all pretty straightforward, right? Because it's salary, social security, retirement, mileage, cell phone training, childcare
Mhm.
tax, health insurance, and equipment. That is all pretty standard. You will notice on the town manager line item, I know there's something that's not in the right spot because I definitely did spend $1,302.11 on equipment. So I know that's not right. So I'll have to ask Teresa what is in there. Then the only other thing that I see for administrator, and we're kind of doing this all around the office, including the clerk and treasurer, is we're going to need new computers. I know if Joel shows you his is wonderfully taped together. I'm not sure how it holds up, but somehow it holds up every time. But then if you go into Lisa's or Teresa's, you'll find that their computers are also pretty outdated and they're older and they just need to be updated every 3 to 5. This gets us on that schedule. And roughly 1,000 a piece for each department. It would probably be a little less depending on how they have their setup.
So under the clerk treasurer, there is no equipment, but
Correct.
they're asking for more equipment upgrades, meaning IT equipment upgrades.
Yes, sir. So what you'll find is in your big budget, right? It's not even included in here. It's in a different line item in the back. I believe sometimes they throw it in appropriations. I've seen it in. But that is for the clerk and treasurer. So you're looking at maximum $2,000. Most likely it's going to be much.
Okay, so what we're looking at here on this spreadsheet doesn't match up line by line for this.
No, it does. I'm
Okay.
telling you that there's a line item called equipment
Right.
that is, and this is why we have to update the budget, right?
Right.
And get it right in here, so it can be right in here. There's further back towards appropriations, there is an equipment line item that is for the town that is typically utilized for this office.
That's what I just want to make sure.
Which, if you're any normal person reading through it, you're like, why wouldn't that be under the administrator, under the clerk treasurer, or under the town manager, right? Just like mine is. So
I personally wouldn't put it there. I put people with people and equipment with equipment. That's just me.
But it's by department.
okay. Any questions on clerk treasurer, town manager, administrator?
Lots to review.
We're all good.
Really dumb question here.
Okay.
What's the new number that should appear underneath the selectmen budget with 5 instead of 3?
In your guys' salary?
Yep.
So I believe it's $8,000, correct me if I'm wrong. But right now it's $8,000 divided by 5. It is up to you guys if you would like to increase that.
No. In fact, I don't want my money. I didn't do this for the money.
No.
So I don't care about the salary. If you want to put that back into the bigger budget, that's fine, but I don't need.
I'm gonna donate my money back to the town so we can get more Christmas lights for the tree.
Well, I was gonna bring that up in other business, so.
We're already on it. Hope that's okay.
Well, I don't think
So,
you're on it because Mike just talked to my wife, and so we're not completely on it.
Well, you haven't talked to Bruce today, Mike.
No, I haven't.
Bruce
And I
doesn't
told
wanna
her that.
do it.
I said that I knew that you were talking to Bruce about it. But yes, your wife did go after you about the Christmas lights today.
Other business. Anyway, yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah.
I think we still gotta, we gotta
8,000.
leave it in there anyways,
That's
right? Don't we?
Going down the line, just like we did with the last one. Starting at clerk and treasurer, I have a 3.80% here. Moving from $58,520.07 to $60,747.09.
Is this the annual increase that is part of the, okay.
His recommendation is that we do a 3.8% increase.
That is based on.
That's what the state picked this year.
Yep, tracking, okay.
Thank you. Okay with that number?
For now, yeah, I mean, it's informational, right? So
So my question
Yeah,
on
we're
it,
not giving you any decisions tonight, correct?
No decisions, but
okay,
it
all right.
helps me compile. your-
Yeah.
Okay.
from a state perspective, I think it's fine as a,
Okay.
when we're looking at these numbers for health insurance,
Yeah,
the number that you've plugged in here is provided that they don't have any changes in their health insurance. Like
Change
our
being-
single person is staying a single person, or are we budgeting for family plan
no,
for every person?
not budgeted for family plan for every employee.
Every employee that we have has the potential to be a family plan. If we don't budget for that and something changes in somebody's status, it's going to automatically blow your budget.
We can do that. You also have to think of what the voters will approve. That's a little bit of a concern of mine, right? Because if you budget, say for me and my wife, right? My, what is it, health insurance going to 24,000 is now 50. That's a big jump, that, and I get that happens, right? If you have a kid or what have you, that is what would happen. You can certainly budget for it, but I just be aware.
But that's what I'm saying is that's the reality.
Yeah.
Is every employee that we have has the potential to change their status.
Sure.
They could terminate their employment with us and we replace them with a new person who has a different status. If you're not planning on that, at least middle of the road for every employee, an average of what the cost is, you are setting those numbers up to be incorrect automatically.
Okay. Now, this 11%, does that mean the cost increased 11% for
Yep.
real increase for 2025?
Automatically 11%.
That's right.
Okay, all right,
If we
Yep.
don't do something with our benefits,
okay.
what we currently
I
offer is an
understand.
11%.
I understand what Heather's saying, but I don't think that you can put those kinds of numbers in the budget and survive the thing. And it's if an employee were to all of a sudden get married, you just go over the budget. You just we're not usually wrong with this number. We budget what our employees, if we have a single employee, we offer a single employee health plan. If he gets married, we have to offer him a 2-person health plan, but that's not going to break the bank. But you can't, if you were to put in, is it still in the personnel policy that we offer full-time employees a family plan? Yes.
Yep.
If you put all that money in for every employee, you're gonna really.
You're right.
I mean,
Right, but that's what I'm saying is that
that's not going to
we
be
have
real
to-
either.
But we have to be aware of that. At least if it's not there in black and white, it needs to be that's a potential and everybody needs to be aware of it as we're talking about what insurances we have.
Can we put the onus back on the employee versus the town? In other words, we hire or they're hired, we put a caveat that says if your thing changes, we will absolutely consider it for the future. But
You can't deny them. Their qualifying event is their qualifying event. When it
Right,
comes
if
to
it's in your
insurance.
Personnel policy, you got to do what your personnel policy
You,
says.
the
Yep.
only way that you can do it is to change your policy to state that we
so
allow X amount we provide full coverage for an employee, we provide 90% for employee and spouse, we provide 75% for employee and child. That's the only way that you can do it. If you say we're providing 100% for employee and children, and family and spouse, you have to be prepared. The other way that I've seen companies deal with that is just by looking at, if you have insurance elsewhere. You have a policy for what you do when somebody has insurance elsewhere. Because that family, like the family plan, and I mean, it's a big number.
no, I'm sure.
And it's unlikely that Joel's gonna have a baby tomorrow. It's unlikely Joel's gonna get married tomorrow.
But Joel doesn't count anyways.
I can try.
On that road department, the final numbers on that,
remember these final numbers, right? We're just talking.
what we see on the paper right now, is this gonna, the union gonna affect any of these numbers?
Absolutely.
They are.
Oh, yeah.
So
Of course.
But what do you want us to do with this for the time being?
You just assume 3.8 or 4% and we see where we come out. That's all you can do.
Right here.
And to cover the unknowns on a life event, a child is born or marriage is, we have this, the prudent thing would be is to set up a reserve fund and put money in the reserve fund for those possibilities. Now, you can't
go one and not the other.
Yeah, I mean,
You can offer that people pay for their,
Well, as
Family
long as it's
coverage.
for everybody, probably.
yeah, it would be everybody.
Yeah.
It would be every employee
Absolutely.
pays something for their coverage or their,
But under your policy, that still means you're still putting that full cost in, even though, our employees don't change that frequently. So you're kind of people are going to say you're creating a slush fund. Because if you're over budgeting that health insurance line too much, then you're going to show up with this big extra pot of money at the end of the year that you didn't need to raise. And so, that's just as much of a problem as under budgeting. Over budgeting without a real purpose can get you in trouble too, because the
I mean,
voters will
I
not.
just know it like, we just faced this with one of our employees getting done, and we're hiring a new employee. There was a potential that that new employee that we hired came in with a family. Thank goodness it was the
Yeah.
end of the year that this all happened with. But that definitely, I mean, that if that had happened in January, that'd have been a huge number. I think we at least need to be upfront and honest with our voters as to what the insurance is costing for all of the employees.
Well, let's reach
Well,
out
it's
to
on there.
other.
Sure,
let's
that's
reach
what
out
that's
to
what's in
another
there now is what you
municipality
are
and see how
giving
they
your
do it.
employee.
We have the
It's
report.
already in the budget.
You are budgeting for all of your employees. The thing is, anything can change. The electric company could come in with a 10% rate increase.
Yep.
It's no different. It's one of those, yes, you might go over on that budget line item, but hopefully you've made up for it somewhere else. Something else comes in under. I mean, budgets are not perfect. They're not going to predict every single scenario. But by super inflating it, by putting a family plan in for every employee, you're going to blow that budget out of the water because we don't have that many people with families. Most of our employees are older.
We also don't have that much money.
So
Then
Number
we need to
one.
look at our policy is what I'm saying.
preemptively, what I've done is I've reached out to NFP. It doesn't cost the town anything. NFP, they're like a health insurance broker, right? They try to provide more options than your MVP or your Blue Cross, and they also try to work with individual employees on what do they need, right? Because what I need is different than what Teresa needs. What Teresa needs is different than what Andy needs, right? All our needs are different as employees. And speaking for the employees, this would be a good option. It doesn't cost us anything. Their job is try to come up with something that would win us, right? Win our business, if you will. So I've sent them the information. They're going to look into this and kind of see where we land, see how they could save employees money, offer a better deal, and help the town in a way. I also, there's another town, and Gene, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't want to say the name of the town. I can't remember it off the top of my head. Starts with an L, but they, essentially the plan that they went to is they offered X amount of dollars to employees who then worked with a broker and then worked on developing a health insurance plan based on their needs. So far, I guess that's worked out, but you can see a lot of towns are going to a variety of options just because it impacts everybody. Doesn't matter what you do, whether you're a small business, a municipality, and you have two options and that's all you're left with, you have to get creative.
So what are the actual numbers associated with the individual employee plus spouse and family plans this year?
For each employee, what are their numbers?
No.
What the rates are.
And in any employee taking an individual plan costs us like 11% doesn't, like, it's hard to know what those are. 11% over what?
Over what the current year's rates were.
Mhm.
Right.
Which the current year's rates were?
So for example, for town manager under health insurance, 22,341.56. I don't know what the exact rate was.
So that was employee and spouse for the full year,
That's
correct?
right. Yep. I'm a good example you can use. Yep.
That's what I'm asking is what do we pay for every individual, everyone that's on an individual? What do we pay for employee and spouse? What do we pay for family? What are those hard numbers? That's what I want to say.
Oh, hold on. I had that. Hold on.
Right.
I look it up every year. I can tell you what the 2025 numbers are because I have that one handy.
That's
Okay,
what
go ahead.
Yeah, what are they?
So we are an MVP gold plan. And so the current over 2025 rates, our single is $1,901 per month.
Mm-hmm.
Single and spouse is $2,018.02 per month. A single plus children is $1,947.39.
1,019, 1,900.
1947.39.
Okay.
And the single spouse and children is 28.35.32. That's the full family.
Thank
They're
you.
looking at $12,000 a year. $12,000 a year for a single, basically, right? And
Mhm.
Yeah.
20 for a two-person.
And almost 36,000 for a full family.
Ouch.
That's what
Yeah.
I'm saying.
And
It's about 30, it's 34,000 for the family.
You just said 36.
I just, $2,835.42 times 12,
Yep,
2,835, yeah, times 12.
34,020.
34,025.04.
Yep.
The town
Thank
has
you.
gone through so many permutations with health insurance and employees. When I started, employees, you had to work 24 hours or more to get benefits, and you had to pay 15% of the premium. The town paid 85% of the premium. And that was fine. But a plan was, a couple grand a year. So
Right. And
when the
deductibles
plans-
changed.
when the plans went up, the town's percentage of 85%, that mounts up a whole lot quicker than the employees' percent of 15%. And it just got untenable, and the town started, we made changes. We used to have a JY plan, which is a Blue Cross Cadillac plan. So we cut back plans and cut back and changed, made employees, well, we started covering 100% like we are now, but it was a much lesser plan. So some towns only give the plans to their employees, but I wouldn't recommend that. That's.
No.
I don't think
Not
it's a good
now.
idea.
Also recommend for the board to do is look at that VLCT PDF and review that. Because it's going to have the health insurance numbers for just about all the towns, how much they're paying is 100%, are they, Blue Cross is MVP, who's their distributor. That'll be a good reference for you when you're looking at health insurance.
The other thing I can say that the CUD is doing, because I was on their benefits committee. And so what they did was we kind of set a budget. Here's how much we will pay for each employee per year. And then we offered them 3 plans to choose from. Because somebody with a family is going to take the better plan, but a single person, they're young, they're healthy, they don't need health insurance, and so they'll take whatever the cheapest plan is, so they don't have to pay any extra. But it allowed the town to allowed the CUD to just kind of budget a set number for each person.
I think that's what the town's done too. Basically, that's been our policy. We gave, a long while ago, we set a certain amount that the town would cover, and if the employees wanted more, they would have to cover the extra costs. I think that's the policy we have now.
Well, then that's not what we're doing on this.
No, we
list.
have
Our number is
100%
huge.
now. We cover 100% of family.
Yeah, but if a town if the employee wants an additional coverage over and above what the town offers, the employee has to buy it themselves.
Right.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
That's my only question on that.
Okay, so looks. Okay, get that. Simple. Anything else on the budget? Any questions, I guess?
Clerk and treasurer, any questions on that? Town manager, all good on that?
Yeah, the tables for the clerk treasurer, you got after the 24 actuals, the growth rate. So that's the percent of increase. But we don't have that for that column for the town manager or the administrator. So what are the increases?
Salary is 3.80%. 3.03.
3.8.
So the budget, you're saying that budget recommendation is that number, we just didn't plug it in the.
So I thought I was gonna do a fancy formula with this and then just, it didn't pan out. Excel wasn't liking me, so I just put in, what's really important to you guys. You need to know that 3.80% is gonna be what we're asking for as far as an increase for salaries. That's across the board. You need to know that 11% is the most important number when it comes to health insurance in case you get, if we continue on the trajectory we're at. So that's why I left the rest blank.
Yeah, I want to see the percent of increase across the board is 3.8%.
3.8.
Yep.
For wages.
Wages, yep. Just a recommendation. When you guys
Any
are
more
ready.
questions? Are we all good with clerks and administration?
I'm good with that.
Okay. All right. Got police department?
That's with their new numbers in there.
Yeah. We have not changed.
Wait a minute, why jump from administrator to police department when it would be Rex and economic development?
It's the way the budget's always been in the book. And so it kind of jumps around because I don't know why, but the appropriations are always at the end. That's why it's out of
Following
order
the
like
order of
that.
this, not the order that we put our
That's right.
spreadsheet.
I think Noah just took the budget from the book, and that's where he started from, because that's
correct.
the budget that people have always used in town.
Right. I figured that would be easier for you guys to digest. Yep.
The NVDA stuff doesn't feed into Excel, basically. You have to take all that, pull it down.
So on
Do you guys
the,
want to do do you want to do the recreation stuff before you do the sheriffs, or do you want to do the sheriff first?
What page is sheriff's on? Mark.
Oh, take one. Oh, it's fine. I don't. Fine. I can answer any questions about it. Yep.
Did you guys have a preference which one you went to?
Whatever one you want. Drive on.
Okay, then let's do the sheriff department, then we'll come back to that other page. So the sheriff's department, you said, is the numbers that they have for this year's contract?
yes,
Until Trevor sends me something different.
Okay, so then we're done with that page.
all right.
Now you want to do the reckon. Yep,
Why not?
Again,
All right.
wages, 3.8% across the board. See that we have some water sewer reimbursement for 55 with a total of 51,350.91 from the town. And if you're wondering what the child care tax credit is, it's just something for that was the state mandate, so now we've added that in.
Yep.
it's like payroll tax.
That's right,
Mhm.
just like payroll tax. And then below that,
Child.
right?
Right.
And then below that, you guys get to the general fund, which is, more of the appropriations, right? You go through the library trustees, DRB, town officer mileage, animal control, tax mapping, things that, I'll be honest, you can't change a whole lot, right? They're gonna cost what they're gonna cost. Streetlights are gonna be what they're gonna be. Lakeside Park, we put about 35K in every year now. Downtown engineering match, we just keep 5,000 on a rolling basis.
Who's the Board of Civil Authority?
That's the people who run the election, like do the legal side of the elections, I believe.
So those
They also
are our
control the
annual
vehicles.
contributions to that fund?
I'm sorry, Joel, go ahead. You were
The
saying?
Board of Civil Authority also deals with elections, and they deal with
Peels, isn't it?
Yeah.
Of
With
the,
list-
of the zoning.
Yep.
Zoning
Right.
or listing?
no, they don't deal with zoning.
Wasn't
Just a
that who
state
listened
agent?
to, oh, no, that's board of, no,
They deal with valuations sometimes. No, that's not
That's-
that's
oh, actually, you know, you're right, it is the valuation, because I was trying to think of
Hold
the hearing I sat in on, and it was for somebody appealing their tax bill.
The
right.
Board of Civil Authority are people that live in Island Pond, correct?
Yep.
Correct.
And that is their payment for doing that service for the full year.
And who are these people?
All the justices of the peace.
So there's at least 7 of them that are required to be here and perform certain duties.
See.
Seven now?
Yeah.
Yes, I
We got them
believe
all
we do.
filled.
So that $1,800
Pay
is
7 of them.
the total outlay that we have to pay that. Okay.
It's a stipend.
Okay, understood.
I will point out the big number you see in there. Did you update the listing services, Noah, with the revised from what you had sent me?
Listing.
The listing
51K?
services, we have to add an additional $25,000 to that with the budget for the reappraisal. The majority of the reappraisal is paid for by the state, but we failed for 2 years, a few years back. The state sent the payment and it just ended up in the general fund and it did not get moved into the reserve fund. So we are $25,000 short for being able to pay off the reappraisal. So that bill will be due next year because they're already working on the reappraisal.
Added 25,000 for reappraisal shortfall.
Right. I think from what Noah had sent me, I think when I added it together, it makes that line item like 51,000.
So it's on the spreadsheet.
Yeah.
It's identified on the spreadsheet.
Yeah, it's under listing services.
Yeah.
I need to bring a big ruler next time.
I just thought we should point out because it's way higher than normal.
But then that'll go back down
Yes.
once we get all the reassessment done.
I have a question. Can we go back to this recreation and economic development? 'Cause you skipped right over that. You didn't ask about any questions. On this travel line, you got $100. Projected 2024, 3,500. How come it went up so much?
Where?
The travel underneath recreation and economic development.
Right.
You got 100, then it goes up to 3,500.
Well, I like to think about all the events that need to be ran, right? So 4th of July, that's a several multi-day event, right?
Yeah.
The vendor fair and the races, right? Sometimes multi-day things, one race after another, right? That takes staff to run that, right? And for years and years and years, whether it's, I don't care if it's for the town manager, or if it's for the select board, right? The town always just, I don't know why they did this, but they always just put like $100 in there for travel. That's not realistic for anybody. I mean, just me going back and forth running errands for the road crew was more than $100. So I wanted to put in a more realistic, fair number. And yeah, you're right. It is. It's a good question.
So this is 30.
The different people that work the different things, the races.
No, that is a reimbursement for travel expenses for that employee.
Yep.
What? Oh, for
Mike.
Right. Like I represent the town at other events in Vermont. You know, like I went to New Hampshire for 2 different events that I represented the town.
Okay.
And they were town events. They were not economic development specifically events. They were not ones. The majority of my travel costs are covered by the grants that I write. But there are a few times, like I have to come up for the hearing on the 18th because I'm on the planning commission. I have been for 10 years. I have to come up for that so that we actually have everybody there to be a full board for that. Well, I can't charge that off to an economic development grant because it has no bearing on economic development. And those grants have specific requirements of what is allowed and what is not allowed.
Another good example on top of that is this year we're going to have town meeting day. And, this public hearing we're having is going to be a good test of how we're going to record things because we've never had to record downstairs. So it's going to take more than just me to be able to do that.
And I will say, I saved the town more than that with my health insurance reduction. That's why I got moved around in the budget because I do not take the town health insurance any longer. I just get a stipend from the town and we buy it through Tim's employer.
What about under the water and sewer reimbursement? What does it mean when it's $12,000? Wasn't that your labor for working with the water and sewer project?
And the water and
Yeah,
sewer pays the
yeah,
town.
that is
to do that.
right. They pay the town back because the town pays me, but then they get reimbursed from the water and sewer department.
Right. Yeah, but that's out of their budget.
Correct.
Right? So we're giving them extra $12,000 to pay you?
No.
No.
The town has to pay them. Pay him. The town pays him. It's his employee. When the water and sewer department borrows him, they pay the hours. So they reimburse the town for the time he spends working for the water and sewer board.
So it's not always $12,000, is it?
That's what it's expected to be. And it's projected next year to be more than that.
Way more than
Because
that.
it's getting into a lot more work from water and sewer.
What, the 2,400?
24,750.
So isn't that split between Joel and Mike?
Yes,
as I
and if you look
understand?
under the town administrator line, it is split between him as well.
So you're both
And we
getting about
allocated that based
$12,000.
upon that Joel works 10 hours a week and I work 40 hours a week. And
So
we
But
kinda-
that's not extra money beyond what he's getting. That's the town being reimbursed from his rate. It's not like he gets that wages line and the grant funding line, and anything in parentheses is things that the town gets paid from other sources that goes towards his salary.
So
In
to
addition to
clarify
the,
something, I
in
need,
addition,
So you're
I
saying,
need to make sure that there's something clear. So I'm 10 hours a week for the town. So when I work for the town, that's my 10 hours. But there's also money for some of my time in the water and the sewer budgets if I need it, if it's needed. So I could put my 10 hours in for the town and then also take some time from the $12,000 to supplement that would add to the amount I'm making. It's a little bit odd the way this is done, but I don't know how.
To be
I
clear,
don't work my 10 hours. If I don't need to work my 10 hours, I don't work my 10 hours. But if I need to work the 10 hours, then I do. If I need to work 12, I will. But
And to
that
be-
way there's money available if those hours need to be put in, and they will need to be put in. I'm not looking for extra time, but I do want that 10 hours a week anyway.
So, and to be clear, the reason we have Mike, Joel, and myself on the water and sewer is because you have a utility that operates in this town with a contractor. The town is responsible for the billing, it's responsible for complaints, it's responsible for infrastructure, for grants, for loans, for all these other things that you would typically hire a CEO to be in charge of a utility with a staff. You don't have a staff. Your municipal staff are your utility staff. They're the same people. So that's why it's really important. So yeah, we do multiple jobs and wear multiple hats, but that's just kind of how it is in a small town. But that's why it's kind of a little odd.
so
But-
the 52,500 in the budget recommendations in parentheses, that's what you're expected to take in?
That's what the town will get repaid from water and sewer next year because of the projects that are going on next year.
Okay.
so that's grant money That 52.5?
No, that's water and sewer
20
money.
Oh,
It's water and sewer money. 20,000 of it is coming in water and sewer department as a grant, and the other 32 is coming out of their budget.
So there's no grant
They're just paying
funding
the
for,
staff They need.
there's no grant funding for your salary. We have like 23, we had 40,000, 24 is 50,000, projected for 24 is
No, there is not.
50,000. So there's no money coming in for your salary from grant funds for
Correct.
25.
I thought you had a 3-year term on the 50,000 from the community forum. Remember when you had 3 years that you were gonna get 50,000 to do the,
Right, we don't. Honestly, to be perfectly honest, Annie, last year we did not apply for an RBDG grant because it was unclear whether I would actually be there to run that grant for the town. And so it came right before town meeting day was the deadline. We do not have that grant this year. We will be applying in January for the coming year, and perhaps there will be grant money at that point. But in the budget, I do not put anything that is not guaranteed.
so I'm just looking at that email from the community forum about what we're trying to accomplish this summer, but we might not have enough money. If we don't
Correct,
get the
correct.
grant.
No, we
That's how
have
it
enough
goes every
money.
year. No.
That's how it is every year. The town does not pay for all of those events. There is no grand sum of money that comes in for those. I write grants to bring all that money in to pay for all of those concerts and all that other stuff. What the forum received was, here's what we're booking for next year. We do not have the grants. Normally, I'm a year ahead on the grants. That's why we always have that money in available in December. We know what we have for the next year. We don't have that. We will be applying in January, and chances are good we'll get it. I mean, we have in the past, but it is not guaranteed. So I am being cautious when it comes to booking events next year. I'm only booking what we actually have money in the bank for. Which is 4th of July, we are fully funded. And Labor Day, we're pretty much fully funded for next year, based upon grant money that we brought in the past. But we can't add extra concerts. We can't add extra things next year until we get secure additional funding.
Thank you.
Questions over the appropriations? Anything else on the budget?
So anywhere on here, is there a revenue line?
Greg, this one. This is the big one. In fact, next time what I'll do is I won't print off this other one. It seems like that's a little confusing for everybody. I'll just use this one. And we can go up and down on those numbers, and that's what I'll use to compile the big final document for you, which might make it a little easier for everybody.
So this upper portion here,
Those
Noah,
are our revenue.
that is
Yep.
all revenue?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Property taxes. Is projected income,
Yes.
because we have
If
delinquent
everybody
property.
pays their taxes,
If everybody pays their taxes. Okay,
that's projected. Yes, that's what projected means.
all right.
At the end of the year, those that haven't, we have to take out a loan to pay for the rest of it till they pay their taxes. Be nice if everybody paid their bills, but we know that doesn't happen.
Yeah. So our projected total revenues for 2025 is
You won't know that yet.
This is 2024.
Okay, all right.
You're setting 2025. When you create the budget, when you get to the end, that's how you calculate what the revenue will be for next year. Unless we know something, if we know that a grant reimbursement is coming in, or there's some other funding source. Those we can plug in. But otherwise, it's basically you take your, you're a zero budget. So whatever you're spending is what you have to put up in revenue, and that's how you calculate the tax rate.
Basically take all this thing. And that becomes this line. I don't have any questions on this anymore. Are we done with this? A lot.
You up for the town manager report?
Yes, definitely. Mm.
I make a recommendation on the next agenda that the budget manager's report, I mean, the town manager report be moved directly under public comment.
Sure. We can do.
We can't do it while we're reviewing payouts. I don't pay attention, and I think there are some very important things that I need to be listening to in the town manager's report and maintain and ensuring that the town manager is reporting on everything, like the task list that we've been asking for, which we haven't seen. So
Task list specifically. What do you want to see done?
The first or the second meeting, Pierre asked for a task list for things that you were to do and in your report, do a report on what was accomplished. So Pierre, you can maybe explain that task list better.
And then we went away from that. We just got, I remember us talking about we wanted it in a
Switched it
different
up
format
again.
because the way he provided it was not the preferred format.
Right.
Well, he never provided it. So to be fair, he never provided a task list. What you provided was, I could do this or I could do that. And I said, well, do this, and you still didn't do it. So if we're gonna put this on the table, what I asked is every 2 weeks, we have meeting notes. There's tasks that come out that specifically say, Mr. Town Manager, you will do these things. What I asked for was a task list to be reviewed so that we understood and that the townspeople understood that you were following through with those things.
Sure.
That's what I asked for. But that has not been done.
How would you guys want that displayed? I'll let you figure that out and let me know. And then what the action items I have on here, right? Because as we're going through the meeting, I write down my action items. When I'm in my office, I put them on my task board that I have in Asana, which is a project management tool I use. I go through and I say, I got that done. I got that done. I got that done. I got that done. You're asking for a little more follow-up, if I may be so bold, right? To come back to the meeting and say, and I got this done, this done, this done, this done, this done. Is that what I'm hearing?
You can use whatever format you want, but if you have an action item that we've asked you to do,
you want to see it done.
You should come back to us and say, it's not done yet, or there's where I am with it.
Okay.
Essentially, you follow through with it with the town manager's report. What I asked is you staple that or you add it, whatever this project management thing that you use, so that we have awareness of where we are. Because I'm 58 years old. I don't remember all these things. I do have my own notes, and it's a follow-up, not only for us, but for the people who, are saying we're gonna do this.
Basically, you want a copy of a demand that says, this is the task, this is the deadline, on task, off task, behind task.
Whichever, correct.
However that looks.
Which is the same thing as Asana.
Yep.
Not the hot tub cup.
Okay, go ahead, Noah.
Okay, so.
All our papers have gotten shuffled.
Yeah, just a little. Okay.
Sorry.
Man, I reached out to the state. I tried to get a deadline from them. They won't give me a deadline. They said, we'll let you know when we let you know. The funds have to be encumbered by December 31st. So between now and then, they should be able to let me know. We applied for approximately about $500,000. This is for the Municipal Energy Resilience Program. This would allow us to do improvements like heat pumps, improve a boiler that is desperately needed in the railroad depot, and a variety of other projects such as that. Buyouts, that landed on my desk. Somehow by statute, I'm in charge of buyouts. So if somebody has had their house flooded and they would like a buyout, there is, I believe it's a 38-page document the state sends me, and I go through it and I have to mark it up, and I have to go do a report on the house and take a visual identification survey and a variety of other requirements that I'm supposed to do. And then I have to work with the individual who is applying for this buyout and then submit all that to the state. At any given time, the individual who is applying for the buyout can withdraw if they don't like the amount that they've been proposed. So, and we've got 2 right now. I'm in the process of working on 1. It is a significant amount of time it takes to complete it. There are a variety of requirements.
What's the minimum requirement to qualify for a buyout?
I have no idea. That's
Okay,
not
to the
something
sink,
state tells me.
a single flooding, as far as FEMA is concerned, on a disaster, on a buyout, a single flooding does not constitute a cause for a buyout, and those are usually denied by FEMA.
So I don't ask those questions. I just know that the individual talked to the state, who talked to me, said, Noah, you need to get this completed, and we expect it done. Sounds good. So that's kind of my end of that conversation for there. I just get it done as quickly as I can for the individual so that they can, that they get what they need done and hopefully get a reasonable number.
I say, it sounded like the state's doing beyond what FEMA did. In some locations, talking to people.
Whole department for this, because I was working with Christy Wood on that before, the one who wanted to raise her house. And there's like 2 people there that you deal with, and yes, they send you. You're responsible, because I had to do it for her. I had to do this whole evaluation of her house and provide comps of what the house is worth, and they went through all this hoopla, and then they demanded that she get a civil engineer, and so she stopped because she couldn't get one.
Exactly.
But the state does mandate these. I mean, it's laborious. When I did it, it was terrible. And they just keep sending it back to you wanting more.
That's right.
Well, it's probably to apply for the flood mitigation assistance grant or pre-disaster mitigation grant for property buyouts. State submits an application, and 2 years later, FEMA makes a decision.
Right.
So that's been my experience for the past 14 years. So I understand that. Okay.
Yeah. So my goal is just to get it back to the state with as few errors as possible, and people get what they need. I've got 2 on my table now. I'm also now working on additional FEMA projects. We have DR 4826, which was the event at the end of July. We have DR 4810, which was the event at the beginning of July. Additionally, FEMA is in the process of finalizing 4626, which was the December flooding. And they've gone through all my paperwork, they've approved it, but then they have to do a final assessment, come up, meet with me, do those pleasantries, and then they have to go back to their supervisors. And that is then the time when they determine how much. I can tell you we're at 34,000 roughly. I forget what the change was. And then for administrative time, I can tell you it's far above $1,700, but that's about what you can expect from FEMA. Guaranteed, we are
All
getting
3 together for
No,
just
it's
December.
Just one.
Just December. Just December. And again, we started that very beginning now November. So it definitely takes a serious amount of time. And the other, like I said, the other 2 projects are spinning up now with 2 other project managers. So I'm working with 3 different project managers in various similar capacities. I don't know where they're at in the state, but it does take a lot of time to meet with them. The road crew, the crew is actively working on several projects. They were hauling and spreading gravel to strengthen roads and surfaces, reshaping shoulders affected by storm damage for better drainage, and installing markers, whips to assist snowplows in the winter. This is something that's really important for our new driver, right? They are also preparing for winter by clearing rocks and other obstacles from areas like the basketball court and pavilion, and cleaning culverts to ensure proper water flow and prevent flooding, especially since we've had some surprisingly nice weather. And those are the main things I have.
Okay, so are we at the pay orders?
I don't believe we have any of those, do we?
Oh, yeah. You always have.
Oh, we
bills,
don't have any
right?
bills.
You always have bills. And Greg, I
Yes, sir.
just got these at like 4 o'clock. So there is probably there might be some FEMA stuff in there that is not labeled, but all the other ones have a DR number associated with them.
All right. Did you sitting this over here for?
I set it over there for you.
Okay,
It's
thanks.
kind of like, then my elbow took it over, you're right. In case anyone wants to read Dear Abby, it's right here.
So where are we at with the tree? You mentioned that the Christmas tree.
Do you want to wait till after the orders?
You guys interested in the Christmas tree?
I'm very interested in the Christmas tree because I think it should have been taken care of annually and it hasn't been.
All right, we can wait for business. Was there any results on the NEP broadband box? The box where it's gonna go by the fire station?
They have not sent me an easement yet.
Okay, so we're still waiting for an easement? Okay.
As I have that in my inbox, I will share that with them.
Charge for 2532 Northern Tire.
Must be tires.
I'm guessing from the road crew. They were the ones who needed tires.
Okay. And we're going to Northern Tire in New Hampshire, Holbrook.
Don't know where they
That's
got
where
it
they,
from.
Okay.
Tax.
Well, we're exempt from tax anyway.
Okay, you tax them.
No, we have.
No, we don't.
We're exempt from tax. We're a municipality. We have a tax-free certificate that has to be presented to businesses. And we don't pay sales tax and stuff like that.
and Northern Tire does deal a lot with big equipment.
Yeah, I was gonna
Tires.
say Northern
and
Tire
stuff, so
usually-
That's, yeah, they're,
Especially with Barry Tire being out. Don't think they're gonna come back after this either. Extinguishers, fire extinguishers, fire extinguishers. So the only thing I see missing in this one is that either Jean didn't do her bills or somebody else did it. We usually get the backup for the hardware store, and that's not in here. For what was actually purchased.
I didn't do what?
We're missing half your bill.
That's okay.
Oh, really? Huh. Maybe
Got
they're only
another.
paying half of it. They don't pay it all anyways. They highlight it with each invoice. So that's probably why they cut some out. I've got them figured out.
Depends who's doing accounts payable.
What's that?
Depends who's doing accounts payable.
That's right.
Feels so bad you had to deal with me when I was doing it.
Actually, don't let them send those checks until after I get back, because that's just gonna be a horror show.
Okay.
When the others decide to, yeah, no.
I'll ask Teresa tomorrow.
Yeah.
Apparently I need to go home and give my dog his medications.
It's all neat today.
Oh, it's fun.
Oh, he loves them.
Oh,
It's his
okay.
flea meds. They taste good.
Oh, I usually have to stuff my finger down the throat to push a pill down there.
Oh, no, Hank, if no matter what the pill is, he's like, ooh, me, treat. He wants more. He gets upset because I only give him one.
Suddenly, then even Betty today.
Just heartworm and flea and tick.
Yeah, he loves his. He loves it.
I've tried peanut butter. I've tried covering it in cheese.
Is it a pill or is it the chewy ones?
Oh, it's a chunk. It's a square chunk for the shepherds. Yeah, almost.
Yeah, he loves his. I have to break it in half. Otherwise, he just swallow it. He's a weirdo. That's all of them. You got enough signatures there.
Their business?
Are we all done? I can't. All done signing? All right.
The other business.
Time change?
I would.
You said that.
I would like to
No, I
talk
didn't.
about the time change. We had, I think it was 2 meetings ago, maybe it was 3 meetings ago. It was requested that we look at adjusting the time change from being 5:30 to 4:30 because the meetings go late in the night. I did say I could try it. I will say that 4:30 meetings are an extreme stretch, not just for myself to make sure that I can attend here, but I have heard from other people that, it makes it difficult for public to attend. And I would hope that the board could reconsider the start time.
I've heard that as well from some citizens. It's too early. They can't make it.
Can we do 5? Is that doable? Greg?
Yeah,
It's just that I'm telling you, right now, we're at 2.5 hours at a meeting. And we're not done.
Right.
So now you want,
it's
Still have an executive session to go into.
exactly.
5:30, 5 o'clock, I can make it a lot easier. And worst comes to worst, we could just make a provision for a spot at the end if needed, if public come in late.
Yep.
I'm here as long as necessary.
Yeah, I'm
To
saying it doesn't matter
accomplish
to
the
me if
job,
it's
and
11
that's
o'clock at night, 12
One
o'clock.
of the
at night.
reasons why I was elected here. So.
Yeah.
I mean,
Right.
a 3-hour meeting, a 4-hour meeting, whatever it takes.
All right, so 5 o'clock. Everybody good with that? All right, so
We need a motion on that. I'll make a motion to move the meetings to 5 PM.
Second the motion.
all in favor? All right. See,
Just a
that
heads up.
doesn't take that long.
There is a document at the very front here in front of the clerk's office that people look at to see what the times are. It's, you guys typically set that during your reorganizational meeting. So every time we change it, I gotta update it, which isn't a huge deal, but people do check that on a regular basis. And so when we changed it, I do get a lot of complaints.
And the website too, and all that kind of fancy stuff,
Change that.
and the signs, and.
Yep.
Mhm.
Do you have any other, the
Yep.
tree?
The tree, what do you have for an update? Because obviously you talked to Bruce. Mike and I talked earlier, because Aaron is going to assist to do the Christmas timeframe stuff. There's a few tasks that came out, but one of them is that this tree is overgrown, the lights are undergrown or understaffed for both, and
Yeah.
we need some help. So what did you hear?
So we were gonna take off the lights, right? I said, Bruce, if you need my help, let me know.
Yeah.
I'll get you the help. And then we're gonna shear it, trim it back.
When
Make
you
it
say
look-
we, you're talking about the town or?
Yes.
Okay.
I say, I mean, I would double check, make sure that this is the time of the year that you, I think it is the time that you get away with like doing that to that tree.
Trimming, yeah.
Yeah. But at least every year, take the star off and
And the
Oh my
lights.
put
God.
it back on. In this, I'm not saying do it in January when Christmas is over. In the spring, though, they should just come off.
So can we put new lights on? Is there a place that we can
And-
take those off and like update it and stuff? I mean, we're willing to help with
Yeah,
that. You know,
and-
that this is,
And,
I'm not tasking the town. I'm just saying, can we have new
Mhm.
lights?
and more
Yeah.
lights.
If somebody's scared of heights, then
Gosh.
I'll get up there and do it to 5 feet, but anything above 5, just kidding. But I
Yeah.
just, if we can get new lights and get that stuff, put it in a pile, we'll get after it.
Okay.
Okay?
So I'll order new lights and we'll remove that. We'll trim the tree. Once that's done and I've got the new lights.
Yeah.
I'll reach out to you as my task and I'll let you guys go at it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sound good?
Is
if
there
there's-
any issue with like, so downstairs in the basement, we have some pretty lights that might belong to Brighton Rec that are just still sitting there that could possibly, I think they're outdoor lights. I can pull them out and hand you guys and see if they'll work.
How many are there?
Are they the C9s, you know, the large
Yes.
lights? Okay,
Yes, we have the large.
yeah.
Honestly, if you just string them from the way they did it in Orleans it was a star that had the string lights on it and they just set it on top of the tree with a fireman's bucket truck and drove off.
Okay.
And then they pull it off at the sprint.
And if there's like 1 or 2 strings of lights on that tree, I recommend you buy 5 or 6.
Yep.
The tree lighting last year was, wow, that was.
Well, those
Underwhelming.
lights have been on that
Thank
tree
you.
for a long time now. Ray put those on. That was before
Yeah.
Bruce.
How many years
Yeah.
ago was that?
That's another thing.
Well, Ray left in 2020, so it was at least probably
I'm
2000.
white, I wouldn't, oh, white beard.
Okay. Okay, I've got another task, but not for this meeting, so I've
I
got it.
have one quick other business thing, and it's just to let you guys know. We got the bid back for the wastewater treatment facility. It was
How many
not good.
million? How many million?
Many more.
9.3,
2.3
which
Okay.
which is an issue in that we don't have 9.3 million available in funding for that. We're 2 million short of that. So we are working with the engineers and our funders, and we'll be back in touch. But I did want you to be aware in case you hear, talk around town about, because the meetings are public and we'll be there, that, yes, it came in $2 million over what we even have. It was even more than that over budget. So, and we met with the engineer today, and, it's kind of, we may go back, rebid it, but we're not sure if it's going to save enough to be worth the hassle.
Okay, yep,
Yep, too long.
thanks for that, Mike.
Thank you.
Okay.
Now we at the executive.
Executive, yep, we need a motion to go into executive.
With staff.
I have the outside.
I don't think that.
I have the Mrs. Claus and the Santa Claus handmade uniform.
Hey, we're talking about executive session.
So the executive session with staff, so that was not put out in the email. So which staff are we
You
including
have to go,
and why?
you have to make the motion to go into it.
No, yeah,
Well, we need a reason.
We asked.
Right.
Yeah.
Contract and, well, actually, they should be two separate executive sessions. So we can do Joel's first, I guess, which is, how do you want to word that, Joel?
The water system.
Right. Contract for the water system.
Won't take long.
okay.
So you're in executive session?
No, not
Not
yet.
yet.
No.
We have not done that yet.
So go ahead, somebody make a motion.
Make a motion to go in executive session to discuss Joel Cope's topic. Still don't know what that is.
Yep.
So I
Okay,
made
then
the
we'll just do
motion.
another one for the other one.
Contracts with the water system.
Oh, for
Okay,
the
so
water
we're, all
system.
right,
Second,
Okay,
all in favor?
aye.
so we recording the executive session? or-
No, that needs to be turned off now, and Mercy has to leave. Yep, she did.
And